Title: Little Ant Dressed as a Villain. Author: Xiang Ziyu. Copywriting: In the ancient X dynasty, Qin Xuanan was a general who disguised herself as a man, and was recognized as the of war. The biggest worry was that she could not expose her daughter's body except how to stabilize the country. On the battlefield, Qin Xuanan suddenly penetrated into a novel of later generations and became a pair of villain brothers. Legend has it that they would marry a wealthy little ant. The little ant is the only living relative of the villain's brother and mother after his death, but she chose to abandon them because she was going to marry into a wealthy family. This directly caused the sick little villain to abandon her legs when she was young and could not walk for life. She will grow up to sit in the future. The killer in a wheelchair uses a genius criminal IQ to help his brother who has become a murderous demon escape the hunt. Oh, the first person killed by the villain was this ant. Little Ant Jiao Didi, Qin Xuanan, who has never been a girl, is afraid of being burned to death as a demon. The biggest worry is how to be a soft girl with modern 4 bodies and not working hard, without revealing that she can be beaten to death with a single punch. The force value of a cow. But Qin Xuanan was very happy to be a girl, so he waited eagerly for the only pillar in the family to support the family. 16-year-old villain Huo Kengzi? 3-year-old villain Huo Qunyu, brother and aunt said that you are already a mature man and you should learn to make money to support your family. Huo Kengzi: I definitely don't. Qin Xuanan: What did you say? Huo Kengzi: I definitely live up to my mission. Content tag: Ancient Ware and Modern Ware. Search keywords: Protagonist, Qin Xuanan. Supporting roles: Huo Kengzi, Huo Qunyu. Others: God of War, Fenglang Zhuzhu. Director, Boy Group, Variety Show. 1 sentence introduction: The little ant of the goddess of war dressed as a villain. Purpose: to break gender stereotypes, tell the society that girls have no fixed side, no need to define them rigidly, and encourage all girls to know what you are, what a girl is like. We can love red makeup, or we can love arms. We can afford eyebrow pencils, as well as steel guns to defend our homeland. A brief review of the work. VIP pushes the medal. In ancient times, Qin Xuanan was a general who pretended to be a woman disguised as a man. The biggest worry was that she couldn't expose her daughter except how to stabilize the country. On the battlefield, Qin Xuanan penetrated into a modern novel and became a selfish and vain aunt of a pair of newspaper villain brothers. The biggest worry is not how to raise big and small villains and urge the rebellious villains to make money to support their families, but how to be a modern girl who is indifferent to 4 bodies without revealing the force value of her punching 3 cows to death. This article has a novel setting and a 3-dimensional character image. The author uses a relaxed and healing prose. The heroine Qin Xuanan obsessively pursues a wonderful plot of being a weak girl but frequently overturning and revealing her true character. Step by step, she tells readers that girls have no fixed side. Like a female protagonist, to break gender stereotypes, understand what she is, what a girl is like. She can love red makeup, and can also love the armed forces to defend the family and the country. It is a rare good article that conveys positive social values. Huo Kengzi, male, 16 years old, is 1.82 meters tall and weighs 68 kilograms. He never thought that one day he would be pulled by a person with one hand, and he would leave the earth. Others may not see the slight distance between his feet and the ground, but he himself very clearly felt the terrifying power that Qin Xuanan pulled his collar inertially in her direction and burst out in an instant. But Qin Xuanan herself didn't realize that she had exposed the terrible hand strength of her martial artist. Because of that pull, she didn't make any effort at all. And when she pulled Huo Kengzi's collar, she was in a mood of extreme dissatisfaction with Huo Kengzi. It has been almost a month since Qin Xuanan became the little aunt of the villain duo Huo Kengzi and Huo Qunyu brothers. But many times she couldn't figure out how a boy with a bad personality like Huo Kengzi could become a big villain that would frighten the whole society in the future. After retaliatingly killing her, this little ant, he still killed countless people. With Huo Kengzi's insignificant physique, he played with her on the battlefield in ancient times. Not to mention killing the enemy, I am afraid it would be difficult to protect himself, and he would not survive a round of battle. You see, now it's just being pulled by her no effort, Huo Kengzi can actually stagger like a piece of paper. Facing Huo Kengzi, whose legs were weightless and unsteady, Qin Chuanan couldn't help but cast a very disgusting look. And this glance completely broke Huo Kengzi's calm and cold genius nerves. You let me go! Huo Kengzi yelled at Qin Chuanan, and raised his hand to Qin Chuanan to pull back his collar, but he didn't even pull him with the strength of sucking. Not only that, but he also provokes Qin Chuanan's even more disgusting look. You are not young anymore. You don't want to make money to treat your brother's illness every day. You just want to make money by taking shortcuts. Now you still have a face to shout at me. Qin Chuanan really disliked Huo Kengzi, who hadn't achieved anything at the age of 16, and couldn't dislike it anymore. In the last life, she went to the battlefield with her father at the age of 13. She won the whole army early at the age of 16, and became a hussar general. Of course the hero doesn't mention the bravery back then, but the more Qin Chuanan gets along with the cheap nephew Huo Kengzi after crossing, the more he finds him useless. Now he is not only useless, but he dares to yell at her. No respect from the elders at all. I'm really showing you too much lately. Qin Chuanan looked at Huo Kengzi's red eyes because he couldn't get rid of her hand, and the more he thought about it, the more he couldn't tolerate it. Almost subconsciously, Qin Chuanan wanted to raise his leg to kick Huo Kengzi, who was exposed and cruel, to the ground, and implement their Qin family's strict family law against unfilial children. But before she raised her leg was hugged by Huo Qunyu, who was sitting in the scooter. Little Huo Qunyu looked anxious, leaned most of his body out of the scooter to hug Qin Chuanan's legs, and almost didn't fall out of the scooter with a large movement. This shocked Qin Chuanan and leaned over and quickly carried him out. Auntie, don't be angry, brother is bad, Xiao will help you beat him. Little Huo Qunyu was held in Qin Chuanan's arms, a cute face immediately laughed to make Qin Chuanan not be angry, and at the same time stretched out his thin arm with needle eyes, and beat Huo Kun fiercely. Take a few seats. Auntie, I hit it, don't hit it. Qin Chuanan couldn't tell what to say after Xiao Huo Qunyu turned back to his brother's careful thoughts. But once again it was certain that Xiao Huo Qunyu had a super perception of danger. This has been mentioned many times in the novel, because Huo Qunyu helped Huo Kengzi escape a lot of hunts by the serious crime team by relying on his keen perception and hacking skills. In the end, based on this keen perception of danger, Huo Qunyu flew in a wheelchair to prevent Huo Kengzi from killing the sniper. Thinking that Huo Qunyu, who died at that time, was only 15 years old, Qin Chuanan sighed. Because these are all sins made by the original owner. In order to drive off the Huo Kengzi brothers, the original owner, Qin Chuanan, actually hit Huo Qunyu in front of Huo Kengzi. Huo Qunyu, who has not yet reached the age of 3, was born with a rare immune disease. If he is weak, he may not be able to withstand any small bumps, let alone a beating from an adult. Qin Chuanan would cross into Qin Chuanan. It was Qin Chualan's behavior that infuriated Huo Kengzi, was pushed to the ground by him, knocked to the ground and fainted. And without Qin Chuanan crossing, according to the original plot, after Qin Chuanan woke up that night, he would use Huo Kengzi to defend her brother's actions against her and drive the brothers out of the house. On the night of sleeping on the street, little Huo Qunyu became ill in his brother Huo Kengzi's arms. He was sent to the hospital for rescue after several twists and turns, but the best treatment time was delayed. At a young age, his legs suffered nerve necrosis, and he lost the opportunity to stand and walk for life. I told you last night that the dance videos that you taught me to shoot the heads and poses have no connotation and can't be fired. You can't make money for the expensive treatment fees your brother needs every month, so you can recognize that you don't have this aspect. How come you still don't recognize the fact of making money? Holding the sick little Huo Qunyu, Qin Chuanan continued to reprimand Huo Kengzi. Huo Kengzi also recovered his usual calmness and rationality after being beaten by his younger brother. Therefore, under Qin Chuanan's reprimand, he slightly pursed his thin lips and did not refute anything. But Qin Chuanan looked at his peachy eyes that slightly covered his pupils and brought a cold feeling, but knew that he was rebellious in his heart at this time. So she didn't bother to continue training him, but informed him loudly. Since you are so stupid and useless, I will have the final say on this family in the future. Director Liu, the 2 million exclusive platform bloggers you mentioned before are cooperating. I wonder if it can be replaced by signing with my nephew. After Qin Chuanan had a conversation with Huo Kengzi, he started to talk to Director Liu about the way she wanted to make money and cooperate. Hey! Director Liu was a little surprised by Qin Chuanan's proposal. Huo Kengzi was also surprised, but felt that she was a whimsical showing her tail. Director Liu on one side also rejected Qin Chuanan's proposal, and said seriously the thoughts he refused. First of all, he is aiming at Qin Chuanan's already out of the circle because of a video, which can bring social exposure and topic discussion to their BIM platform. The second is that he is not optimistic about Huo Kengzi. Huo Kengzi's appearance is outstanding, but he does not have any affinity and is too cold. This high coldness not only comes from his overly angular and sharp facial features, but also comes from his cold personality that resists people thousands of miles away. Of course, there are also groups who like Huo Kengzi's image of a glamorous noble son, but few, so Director Liu is not optimistic about Huo Kengzi, whether he is a blogger or an artist. But Qin Chuanan told him that Huo Kengzi couldn't eat with his face, and she wanted him to rely on his talent. What talent does Mr. Xiaohuo have? Qin Chuanan's complacent words aroused Director Liu's curiosity about Huo Kengzi's talent. He looked at Huo Kengzi, who was so energetic, that he was not a layman. Qin Chuanan told him that it was a talent for funny. Funny. Huo Kengzi can scare the crying child's Gao Lengbing into a funny route without smiling? Director Liu suspected that he was either hearing hallucinations or Qin Chuanan was teasing him. Qin Chuanan took out the mobile phone in his pocket and played several videos that she had edited to Director Liu. Then Director Liu, who had finished watching, almost laughed so hard that he didn't even give up his breath. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect Mr. Xiaohuo's face to have the potential to be made into an emoji. Ha 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 ha, yes, I am willing to sign Mr. Xiaohuo. Director Liu returned the phone to Qin Chuanan. Huo Kengzi, who felt that there was a conspiracy in the middle, wanted to take it, but was beaten by Qin Chuanan. Pop! With a loud noise, Director Liu felt that the beaten Huo Kengzi was very painful. Huo Kengzi didn't react to pain, and looked at Qin Chuanan coldly and said, "If you don't show it to me, I don't agree. You posted that video before, didn't you show it to me?" After Qin Chuanan didn't even look at Huo Kengzi's reply, he continued to discuss the signing rules with Director Liu. She still has many blind spots about these. Mr. Xiaohuo's signing level is still uncertain. We still need to see if Mr. Xiaohuo can get out of the circle with these videos and bring us BIM as much heat as Miss Qin today. This requires you to publish your work first. You can discuss the release time of the work during this week, and our BIM platform will cooperate with the recommendation position, and the data will be available at that time. We rely on the data to discuss the signing level. Director Liu answered many questions from Qin Chuanan, and finally, at her request, gave her a BIM million-level broadcaster signing contract for her to understand. I still have work this afternoon, so I can't send Director Liu far away. Qin Chuanan smiled and took the initiative to stretch out a hand and shake hands with Director Liu to say goodbye. When Director Liu shook hands with Qin Chuanan, he noticed that she had been holding Huo Kengzi with one hand and was talking to him. Now to shake hands with him and say goodbye, he still squeezed the contract he was holding to Huo Kengzi, who had been in low pressure next to him, before vacating a hand. And with that hand stretched out, Director Liu felt that he was thinner than the one seen in the video. "Young man, listen to your little aunt, it's not easy for a weak aunt." When he was leaving, Director Liu couldn't help but patted Huo Kengzi on the shoulder, leaving him such a sentence earnestly. For this sentence, Huo Kengzi, who has always been expressionless, couldn't help but frown for a long time. Qin Chuanan looked at him with such an air, and for some reason, he thought of the emoji package that I saw on WeChat 2 days ago. In an instant, she couldn't help laughing out loud. Haha. After laughing, Qin Chuanan continued to ignore Huo Kengzi's death sight, took out his mobile phone from his pocket, ignored the missed calls in it, and instead turned into the address book and contacted an extraordinaire who had recently met on the crew. The group head. Brother Zhang, are there any crews missing from your group to perform? Yes, that's the nephew I mentioned to you before. I'm going to find some work for him now. You don't need to look at my face and find him a lighter one. The most common group performance of 80 yuan a day will do. Oh, I really don't need to look at my face. Yes, that stinky boy is tall and tall, over 1.8 meters. The male number 2 in our crew is missing a 1.8 meter corpse replacement this afternoon. Can my nephew be on top? 500 yuan a day is enough. Don't ask the assistant director to help me raise the price. Well, my nephew is in the studio right now. I will take him back to the crew immediately. My working hours are coming. Okay, Brother Zhang, see you with the crew of emergency rescue later. Qin Chuanan called for less than 2 minutes to help Huo Kengzi set up a part-time job of 500 yuan. Huo Kengzi couldn't react, so he heard Qin Chuanan say, "Let's go, I will take you into the crew." "I won't do it. Don't arrange these messy tasks for me." Huo Kengzi reacted, refusing aloud, but met Qin Chuanan's eyes that disliked him so much that he could no longer dislike him. Without Qin Chuanan speaking this time, Huo Kengzi suddenly realized that she was disgusting him for not making a penny for the family. Moreover, judging from the familiarity between Qin Chuanan and the group leader Zhang Jie on the phone, Qin Chuanan actually planned to help him arrange part-time work during the summer vacation for group performances to make money. This gave him a bold conjecture that Qin Chuanan didn't suddenly question his BIM money-making plan last night, but some kind of outbreak at Qin Chuanan's time. Qin Chuanan should have planned a new BIM money-making plan long ago, and he has also prepared other money-making jobs for him. And these were all planned by her at least a week in advance. At that time, how many days did Qin Chuanan replace his real little aunt? It should be less than 20 days. Yes, the elementary school took the IQ test and Huo Kengzi, who had an IQ of over 190, knew that his real little aunt was replaced by Qin Chuanan. And he still clearly remembered that during the first few days that Qin Chuanan passed through, all the details showed that she was completely ignorant of modern technology and culture at that time. In 20 days, Qin Chuanan, a monster who didn't know where he came from, can learn and adapt to this degree like crazy. For an instant, a chill rose on Huo Kengzi's back. Wang Xiaoxiao and Fan Zili came to Qin Chuanan, and they saw Huo Kengzi standing beside Qin Chuanan with a gloomy face from a distance, and a chill rose in his back. They almost simultaneously remembered the scene where Qin Chuanan was lying on the ground with blood all over his head a month ago. "Yerong, you and Zili can talk to Shualan about the summer internship certificate, I won't go." Wang Xiaoxiao's palms were sweating from seeing Huo Kengzi, pushing the man wearing a medical mask. Yerong and Fan Zili went to Qin Chuanan. "I'm not going over, Yerong, go alone." Although Fan Zili's body is not as persuaded as Wang Xiaoxiao's performance, she still feels a little confused when she sees Huo Kengzi's heart, and she subconsciously doesn't want to meet him. Yerong didn't know what they had gone through a month ago, so she didn't look at Huo Kengzi, a depressed teenager. But now she is wearing a mask, but facing Qin Chuanan with some guilty conscience, she can't show the pride of Zhang Yang on the phone before. "So I wanted to pull Wang Xiaoxiao and Fan Zili together, but Wang Xiaoxiao didn't give her a chance and pushed her and told her to go quickly." Fan Zili was even more ruthless. When Wang Xiaoxiao pushed Yerong, she raised her hand and took off the medical mask Yerong had bought halfway, and then pushed Yerong to the direction of Qinchuo South Station with great force. Yerong was a little embarrassed and angry when she was pushed, but she didn't have time to turn her head and angered Fan Xiaoli. Qin Chuanan watched it not early, and had already started to walk with the Huo Kengzi brothers to the crew. Seeing this, Yerong straightened her back and walked towards Qin Chuanan with her high heels. But when Qin Chuanan walked with her in the wrong place, he didn't even give her a glance. The reason was that she did not recognize Yerong, who had undergone cosmetic surgery again in the summer. She only had the memory of Qin Chuanan seeing Yerong on the university campus a month ago. Instead, Huo Kengzi, who was pushing the scooter with Qin Chuanan with a blank face, followed Qin Chuanan, raised his eyes and glanced at her, then noticed something and went to see Qin Chuanan. Qin Chuanan was holding little Huo Cunha with one hand, and rushing into the crew without squinting at the stride. While rushing, Qin Chuanan found that Huo Kengzi hadn't kept up, and turned around and shouted at him, "Hurry up, don't be slow." At that time, Qin Chuanan's whole person was like a burning fire, violently and violently. There was no such thing as her sudden change of gentleness when she joined the crew and heard someone calling her Xiao Qin makeup artist. Oh, only for the gentleness of others. Qin Chuanan saw Huo Kengzi with his eyelids drooped and expressionless when he entered the crew, and he didn't know what he was thinking about. He still didn't look down on it. If someone greets you, why don't you respond? It's really not polite at all. Qin Chuanan scolded Huo Kengzi while pressing him on a wooden box to put on death special effects makeup. Huo Kengzi was still a little lost in his own thinking, so at first he didn't notice what the wooden box he was sitting in was storing. When he felt something strange in his body, he looked down at the box, and instantly stood up with his face so stinky. "Don't stand up for me to be bad." Qin Chuanan didn't notice that Huo Kengzi had a hygienic attack. She was happily using shaping oil paint on a color palette to make an injury color. This is the first time she has made special effects makeup. She has been responsible for daily makeup before. "Sit down, I'm going to start to melt." Qin Chuanan told Huo Kengzi that Huo Kengzi was still alive and well. When she yelled twice that she was annoying him, she discovered that he was a profanity episode mentioned many times in the novel. "I am sick." Qin Chuanan looked at the clean box in her eyes, and really disliked Huo Kengzi, the great villain in the novel. But to say that she most dislikes the villain the most, it must be his perverted revenge remembering attributes that are undoubtedly exposed in crime novels. The specific perverted vengeance is that his real little aunt framed him once when he was 3 years old, and he can remember to return the hate that was 18 years apart before killing the little aunt in subsequent revenge. "Auntie. A big man, I haven't seen you so narrow-minded and hateful." After Huo Kengzi finished the death special effects makeup on his face, when he returned from a change of costumes, his whole person suddenly became gloomy and scary. At first, Qin Chuanan thought that he was wearing other people's costumes and had an addiction to cleanliness, so he gave him another sentence. Because at that time, she also predicted that this stinky boy was gloomy, and because of the costume, she remembered a lot of blood hatred in a small book. When she later went to the men's bathroom with Huo Cunha in her arms, she heard that several actresses led by Li Tong gathered outside the women's bathroom and said bad things about her. Qin Chuanan knew why Huo Kengzi came back. "Will be so gloomy and tyrannical. Have you seen the news on the internet? The intern surnamed Qin is not by Fume at all, but a sister married a richer sister. Last month the rich brother-in-law went bankrupt and committed suicide by jumping off the building, and the sister died of illness. I also saw that her high school classmates broke the news on the internet, saying that she was pretty good looking in high school and messed around with the rich. I made a mess at a young age, so do you think the little nephew she brought today was not born to her sister, but an illegitimate son she made a mess of in those few years? Did you discover this secret too? I just saw that she was holding him, and it felt like they were a mother and a child. The eyebrows are almost the same. It's the illegitimate child. I just went to find a picture of her sister. The little nephew is not like her sister at all. I take Xiaohu to the bathroom." Huo Kengzi chased his younger brother over, and followed Qin Juanan and heard bad things about the actresses again, but he didn't take any action. Instead, he was full of hostility and prepared to leave with his younger brother. Qin Juanan didn't look down on him for such a secret grudge, so he used Qin's family motto to educate him: a gentleman is generous and broad-minded. Huo Kengzi disdainfully thought that the meaning of this sentence was to tell him not to hold grudges, but saw that after Qin Juanan had finished educating him, he carried the makeup case as if carrying an army of thousands of horses and killed him in front of the group of actresses. Qin's 136th family motto: gentlemen are generous and broad-minded. So the children of the Qin family, especially the last generation of Qin Juanan, are famous: never hold grudges, revenge on the spot. Suolan, Shuolan, come pick up a video call from Yerong. When Qin Juanan hugged Huo Qunyu to find someone to consult the network to defame things, Wang Xiaoxiao suddenly took a connected mobile phone and came to her. Qin Juanan didn't want to answer Yerong's video call. She hadn't forgotten her disappointment with Yerong before. But Wang Xiaoxiao came over and pointed the connected video call directly at her, letting her see the man inside. Seeing the fair-faced man in the phone video, Qin Juanan knew what Yerong had done, so his face sank. The handsome man over there brightened up because of her appearance and smiled softly at her. Lanlan, long time no see. Yan Ziqian greeted Qin Juanan happily with a yang-like magnetic voice, and attracted some female staff and actresses who walked around Qin Juanan to stop and listen to him. Lan, I just watched your hot search video. How come you are so powerful and still shoot such a handsome video with special effects? But next time you shoot this kind of video less, what should you do if you squeeze your fairy hand? And those dancing videos of your treasure hidden in BIM, my goodness, you dance so beautifully. You said how could there be a little fairy who can dance like you? Yan Ziqian kept blowing Qin Juanan's rainbow fart at all, which reminded Qin Juanan that she would receive more than 10 greeting messages from this guy every day during the first few days of her journey. After that, Qin Juanan learned how to block Black on WeChat and blocked him. Qin Juanan did not continue to see those uninterrupted greetings. Turn it off. Qin Juanan told Wang Xiaoxiao. She really couldn't stand the masculine and handsome big man in the video who praised her so flatly. At this time, the friends around Yan Ziqian couldn't stand his rainbow fart to Qin Juanan, and they all yelled at the side. Brother Qian, I beg you not to be abnormal if you encounter Qin Juanan. Brother Qian, how many levels are you licking the dog? Brother Qian, just tell your brother when you lower your head, and brother will treat you as well. A group of top rich second-generation generations couldn't bear to complain about Yan Ziqian's dog-licking behavior that only targeted Qin Juanan. Several rich second generations wanted to come to see what Qin Juanan was doing now, and they were all beaten up by Yan Ziqian. Don't come over to scare her, don't come to scare her, you ugly. Yan Ziqian disgusted the few brothers, then looked at Qin Juanan's face that was completely on his aesthetic point, and he became obsessed with 100 fireworks in his heart. Qin Juanan looked more and more and felt that Yan Ziqian looked very good and handsome, but he was Yazi who didn't seem to be very clever in his mind. It is no wonder that, as the wealthy and young man who the original owner will marry in the future, he will eventually bump into Huo Kengzi because he has gone to see the original owner more. Huo Kengzi will accompany the original owner and be tortured and killed in the villa together. What are you doing with Yerong's phone number? Qin Juanan didn't reply to any message from Yan Ziqian after crossing. However, Yan Ziqian didn't get her response and did not continue to look for her after being enthusiastic for a few days at first, so he suddenly looked for her today. She must be something. But Yan Ziqian looked at Qin Juanan's face on the phone screen but couldn't tell the truth. He only said that he saw her friend Yerong, and then suddenly wanted to see her, so he called her. He didn't mention that Yerong was telling him that Qin Juanan had found other rich and young people to join the crew for internship. Hu Fei, an iron buddy who was still sitting next to him couldn't see his stupidity, and asked coldly on the phone for him. It's not that I heard that Miss Jean dangled my brother and found other spare tires. My brother came to ask about the situation, which consortium's son got your blue eyes and helped you solve the internship thing. Hu Fei said this strangely on behalf of Yan Ziqian, but Yan Ziqian replied, I have heard about it vaguely, I believe you. What do you believe in me? I was able to do an internship with this crew because of a relationship. Qin Chuanan didn't understand how these people's brains grew, so he coldly stunned Yan Ziqian's supplementary words. Yan Ziqian was stunned for this, and was a little surprised that Qin Chuanan directly admitted that he was looking for other rich and young relationships to join the crew. But soon he immediately smiled and said, It's all right, you'll find me next time. Yan Ziqian's unconditional spare tire spoiling people made the blue veins on Hu Fei's forehead jump with anger. When he was about to scold his brothers, Qin Chuanan scolded them first. Why am I looking for you next time? Are you still not sure that my purpose in blocking you is that I won't find you again? And your brother with eyes on the ceiling, he's so yin and yang, why I'm looking for a relationship to join the crew, so I must be looking for you to be idle dudes like you? Are you too high on your own ability? Also you believe me, I rarely believe you? Get out of me! After Qin Chuanan scolded him, he didn't even look at Wang Xiaoxiao who asked her to answer the call. He picked up Xiao Huokungzi and left. Hu Fei, who was dumbfounded on the other side of the phone, and Yan Ziqian, who suddenly held his face in excitement. Lan Lan is so pretty when he gets angry. Hu Fei? Hu Fei, you licking the dog is helpless, I don't want a brother like you anymore. After Qin Chuanan scolded Hu Fei and Yan Ziqian, he hugged Huo Qunyu to find her associates in the group, and he didn't even look at Wang Xiaoxiao. Wang Xiaoxiao chased her for a few steps, trying to explain that she was also deceived by Yerong, but did not catch up with Qin Chuanan who was holding a child and walking fast. Qin Chuanan is also very disappointed with Wang Xiaoxiao now. She still remembers that half a month ago, she was still learning to dance with Huo Kungzi and filming BIM videos, but suddenly received a call from the counselor and was scolded by the counselor. This is the first time that Qin Chuanan has been scolded like this, and it is also the first time he knows that someone will skip the college to attend a giant cruise party and arrange for their sophomore students to uniformly arrange a summer internship for a large historical drama crew. The internship lasts at least 2 weeks and counts as compulsory credits. Failure to complete it will affect graduation. At that time, most of the summer vacation had passed, and God knew how much headache Qin Chuanan had at that time. But now the headache is on Yerong and Fan Xiali, and school will start less than 10 days ago, but before today, they all had plans to rely on Qin Chuanan to find Yan Ziqian as a proof. But Qin Chuanan was disgusted with this mixed study attitude, so she didn't use this method at the beginning, and she is not planning to help them use it now. Yerong and the others should have seen it, so they kept making small movements behind their backs. As for Wang Xiaoxiao, who already has an internship, Qin Chuanan is a little puzzled why he would get mixed up with them who didn't have an internship. But when she saw the person she was close to, she knew why. I told Wang Xiaoxiao not to come for an internship today. The person in relation told Qin Chuanan with a solemn face, thinking that Qin Chuanan would ask why Qin Chuanan didn't ask anything, but instead saw a small skirt she was sewing and stared at her. Yes, Qin Chuanan was able to join the crew with a woman who was super capable. Senior sister. Qin Chuanan worshipped Yang Linlin, the leader of the clothing design team, and Yang Linlin also responded, and then looked at Qin Chuanan's starry eyes and laughed. And with a smile, the feeling of being so capable and serious to make people feel uncomfortable faded away and turned into a mature and attractive big sister. Qin Chuanan also thinks Yang Linlin is the most attractive woman she has ever met. I got a good makeup and a good needlework. In addition, it also has its own studio, which undertakes personal image design work for crews, TV shows, and stars. Yang Linlin also thinks that Qin Chuanan is the most promising newcomer in the industry she has ever met. The first time I saw Qin Chuanan, Yang Linlin didn't want Qin Juanan to be an intern in this crew if it wasn't for Qin Juanan's current counselor's face. Because from the perspective of Qin Juanan's famous brand, she knew that she used to be a vain student who didn't take their professional life seriously. What Yang Linlin once hated most was this kind of juniors who corrupted their professional reputation and reputation. So at the beginning, she threw her and Wang Xiaoxiao into the most tiring and unskilled group acting group. Sure enough, on the first day, the two Jiao ladies were in a mess. She predicted that the two juniors would have to gritted their teeth for half a month for the internship credits, or would be like Wang Xiaoxiao, who could not support the wall with mud for 3 days, fishing for 2 days and drying the net for 2 days, and she couldn't see it and drove out of the crew. But Qin Juanan gave her a big surprise. Except that she seemed to be in a rush on the first day, as if she didn't know how to put makeup on. She started to get better on the second day, and she became more comfortable with each passing day. She also evolves the groups fast and well, and it's almost always good. During the filming, several important roles were overwhelmed. It was at that time that Yang Linlin re-examined her younger sister who looked more beautiful than a female celebrity. Then she found a piece of treasure and promoted her to the ordinary actor combing group. I just heard that you were bullied by an actress. It's those actors. You should sign up with me. Yang Linlin now sincerely accepts Qin Juanan, a fellow junior, and naturally does not allow her to be bullied in her own studio, so she wants to find a place for her, but Li Tong and several actresses outside have been made up by Qin Juanan before. Fakai cried. Good job. Yang Linlin was stunned when she heard Qin Juanan say her own revenge, and then laughed. After laughing, thinking about the hot search videos she hadn't watched, she raised her face and asked Qin Juanan. Then what's the matter with the hot search on the BIM video you filmed? Didn't you vow to me before that you don't rely on your face to eat, but you rely on crafts to eat? I'm going to rely on my craftsmanship to eat steadily and not shoot those videos. Let my nephew do it. He is more talented than me. The 16-year-old nephew. Okay. If there is any difficulty tell me, I also have some contacts who can help him. Thank you, senior sister. Qin Juanan sincerely thanked the fellow senior sister for taking care of her and said without hiding her what she wanted to consult this time. I was hired by a Navy and marketing account to be vilified on the internet. I'll check it online first. The senior sister helped Qin Juanan check it out as soon as she heard about it. The other party is very willing to spend money, and they are willing to buy you a hot search advertising space. I want to make your reputation and peripheral women's stigma be nailed to you by more and more people in society. Is that an advertising space? Qin Juanan looked at number S peripheral female number in the 5th row of the hot search, feeling that this kind of very small modern knowledge has been added from the sister's side. Can you think of who did it? Yang Linlin asked Qin Juanan. Qin Juanan shook her head and said that she was investigating in memory, but she instantly narrowed the scope of this aspect because of Yang Linlin's words, and then asked Yang Linlin how she went online. After failing to understand the knowledge that the original owner did not have in his memory, Qin Juanan was ready to leave. But Yang Linlin watched the discussion that was about to take shape, but she was worried about this and not allowing her to go. She also suggested that she quickly find a professional public relations team to clarify the matter. I know a junior in the media department of our school. He now runs a public relations company. I will introduce it to you. Yang Linlin believes that this matter cannot be delayed. The more it drags on Qin Juanan's reputation, the worse it is, and it is difficult to clarify. After all, spread the rumors with a mouth, and run off the legs to refute the rumors. So she went to check the phone to help Qin Juanan contact the junior. But Qin Juanan knew about the existence of a public relations team before he came, and knew that they were expensive, so he did not consider using such a professional team. I don't have any money, so I have to sell the car for 50,000 yuan. I have to prepare for the injection next week. Qin Juanan said of her current poor, and Yang Linlin was about to lend her money. But Qin Chuanan said she didn't need it, because she already had some ideas to deal with. What way? Drawing a salary from the bottom of the tank will lead to disaster. Yang Linlin was a little confused by Qin Chuanan's art of war. She could understand some of the meanings on the surface, but she didn't understand the specific meaning of drawing money from the bottom of the pan. Qin Chuanan then simply told her all the things she had just deduced and calculated in her mind. The opponent has a strong army, that is, financial resources. I don't have any soldiers now. It's just a drop in the money to ask you to borrow, and there is no need to fight her head-to-head online when she launches an onslaught. Qin Chuanan first subconsciously explained it with her accustomed thinking of marching and fighting. After talking about what she was afraid of revealing, she turned to more modern terms. I just watched it. Now is the climax of the Water Army marketing account slandering me as a peripheral woman on the internet. This is not the best time to clarify, but to find things to divert the public's attention and let the public not pass. Pay more attention to the dirty water that those Navy marketing numbers splashed on me, but to pay attention to and discuss other things. When this wave of fierce ridicule attacks has passed, I will find another opportunity to clarify, and to clarify that I still need to prepare some evidence, so that it can be more convincing, and I am not afraid that the opponent is launching this kind of attack out of nothing. Qin Chuanan never fought unprepared battles, and Yang Linlin understood what she meant, and asked what she was going to use to divert the public's attention. Qin Chuanan took out the video she had watched before Director Bim. I plan to release it this weekend when the traffic of Bim is the highest, but now it seems that I can only post it today. Okay, I think this is okay, ha 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 ha, your nephew is so funny. Yang Linlin was also amused by Huo Kengzi's video, and Qin Chuanan called Director Lu and told her that he planned to release Huo Kengzi's funny talent video today. Huo Kengzi knew that when he hit the BIM platform, he was still making the last stand-in. He was lying on the green screen at the time, and he was also thinking about how to deal with Qin Chuanan's hacking. He knew that Qin Chuanan was not the real hacked ant, so he exposed his high IQ and antisocial personality. He was not going to help Qin Chuanan. He was still a little curious about how Qin Chuanan, who grew so fast, would deal with this things. Therefore, he used a divine-like macroscopic perspective to observe and predict the development of the incident calmly and indifferently. During the period, he speculated who was behind the scenes, and did not intend to tell Qin Chuanan to interfere with his high-end observations. At that time, he thought that the fire would not burn in front of him so quickly, but he omitted some chain reactions at the low-end level of reality that would accelerate those fires to him. Ha 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 was forced to open Huo Kengzi, it's going to laugh at me. This Huo Kengzi is going to contribute my expression pack for a whole year. Life has finally started on these noble sons. Huo Kengzi was lying on the green screen, the death special effects makeup on his face had not been removed, and at the same time, there was still some makeup, but he had no emotional ups and downs about it. So when he heard some staff members whispering about his name, he knew that the fire from the sidelines burned him. But he didn't get up immediately to check what was out of control. Instead, he waited for the final scene to end and the director called to close the work before he got up from the green screen and took out his mobile phone to check the fire incident about him. Then he saw a video that he knew existed. And this video was taken on that day and at that time, and he also remembers it. But he never knew that this video would bring so much joy to people all over the world. Making money is not easy to be forced to open business. My nephew Huo Kengzi is too difficult for him. This is Qin Chuanan's video title and hot search pre-order entry created by combining various hot words on the internet. It condensed the soul taste of that video vividly, and it also used very precise words to reach the climax of all viewers watching that video. Those few videos were made by Huo Kengzi in order to teach Qin Chuanan to dance and make a BIM video, first forcing himself to learn to dance sexy. In the learning screen, Huo Kengzi's facial expressions can be said to be very emotional, but he has learned the enchanting dance moves of the dance very well, or the show is very good. Summarizing a few hot comments from netizens to describe the funny magic of this dance is: Huo Kengzi stared blankly at the overwhelming ha 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 and various playful comments on the internet, and the whole person was in low pressure. Qin Chuanan was very happy looking at the internet response similar to her estimate. Until she saw such a comparative comment: Huo Kengzi's dance, removing his uncomfortable head of being forced to operate, feels more feminine than the dance of his little aunt Qin Chuanan. Seeing this comment, Qin Chuanan suddenly became unhappy, and began to play face-à-face with Huo Kengzi to release the low pressure. Holding the little Huo Cunha who had already fallen asleep, Qin Chuanan left the crew because of a comment about the low pressure with Huo Kengzi, who had all the comments about the low pressure. Qin Chuanan's inner resentment really exploded at this time. How could she dance feminine without this stinky boy Huo Kengzi? How can it be? Qin Chuanan secretly glared at Huo Kengzi, who was expressionless like an iceberg. Stubbornly, she didn't want to admit that some netizens found out what she lacked in dancing. Why does Huo Kengzi's video edited by her become so popular? In fact, it was also the interesting point she discovered when she saw it for the first time, that is, how can a boy dance such an enchanting dance, but it is difficult for her to learn. That charming hand, long legs, why is it strange to her? Huo Kengzi ruled out a face that was completely detached from the soul, and the body jumped so naturally and sexy. It won't produce the nondescript feeling of boys dancing girls' dances. On the contrary, it was herself. When she jumped up, she felt that her hands and legs were not her own, so it was estimated that Huo Kengzi gave up by herself. At the beginning, she only asked her to dance to be responsible for showing her face, beautiful legs, and rough legs, showing her waist. The taste of dance. This is also the reason why Qin Chuanan discovered that Huo Kengzi used her to sell her hue to make money, and was unwilling to cooperate with him anymore. Otherwise, those girls are actually cute and love to dance, she still likes it. But she found that she didn't have the talent for girls in this area, so she really hurt her heart of being a girl. Oh! Qin Chuanan couldn't help sighing deeply, and Huo Kengzi, who was at a low pressure, glanced at her with a cold voice, feeling speechless. I don't quite understand why she has successfully used his dancing video to divert the network's attention to bad news such as number, and why she still looks so glum. It is obviously him who should be unhappy, upset, and angry, and now he is the forced businessman who is ridiculed by the entire network. He was indifferent to this matter and couldn't help but give birth to some injustice. But this injustice is more due to his inferiority in confronting Qin Chuanan many times, and his anger at himself. Qin Chuanan has often easily changed his control of the situation recently, holding his nose to follow her thoughts. This makes Huo Kengzi, who is used to controlling everything around him, very unaccustomed and very resistant. He didn't think that his wits and strategy had been lost to Qin Chuanan, but Qin Chuanan's occasional use of character and learning to show his talents really caught him off guard. I always feel that some of Qin Chuanan's handling methods are his ability blind spots. Oh! Huo Kengzi sighed without knowing it. After sighing, he was stunned, and he would actually sigh for him. Because if you understand the personality test that he did after taking the IQ test when he was young, he would find that he had emotional apathy. This is actually a kind of illness, that is, all his actions are the result of rational analysis, and his sensibility is almost equal to nothing. Therefore, it is difficult for him to get rich emotions such as sigh and anger, but he has often experienced it recently in Qin Chuanan. Please take a detour. The murder happened ahead and the police are blocking the scene. Qin Chuanan hugged Huo Cunha and Huo Kengzi before walking out of the film and television city. When he went to a nearby subway station, he was suddenly stopped by a policeman and called them to make a detour. Qin Chuanan was still in a depression and depressed that he was not feminine. He nodded when he heard it, ready to cooperate with the police. But unexpectedly, the tall policeman glanced at her today in a pink dress that was similar to the color of the deceased, and eloquently advised her not to walk at night recently. Recently, there is a fugitive who is staring at a beautiful and girl like you. Little girl, try not to go home so late these days. The tall and safe policeman concealed a lot of information that might cause fear for Qin Juanan, and gave her some effective protection and admonitions. But I still felt that saying this would scare Qin Juanan, and he was ready to say a few words to comfort her, but Qin Juanan suddenly brightened his eyes because of his sentence, staring at you as beautiful and girl. To see him. I know. As a beautiful and girl, I will pay attention to safety. Qin Juanan swept away the depression before, and there were a million beautiful flowers blooming in his heart. Huo Kengzi on one side looked at her with a big smile, and for some reason he wanted to look at her with mentally retarded eyes. He didn't understand that Qin Juanan was just so happy when he was praised by a handsome male policeman about being beautiful and sexy, but it did not prevent him from thinking that she was completely lost in the moment, and he couldn't hear the policeman. This was a psychological suggestion that she was recently. Don't go out wearing such a skirt, and don't come back late if you wear it, or you may be targeted by some criminals. Huo Kengzi stared blankly at Qin Juanan, who was about to jump up and down when he walked. He didn't notice the handsome male policeman for the first time, because he was indifferent to his surroundings, and he was indifferent to someone who raised him. This kind of vigilance that professionals only have. When Huo Kengzi noticed, he appeared calm and looked back blankly. When Ji Jueshan looked at Huo Kengzi's cold eyes with no mood swings, his heart was even more certain of his judgment. Huo Kengzi had an antisocial personality with emotional apathy. And the wisdom is not low at all, it is a high-functioning antisocial personality. This kind of high-functioning antisocial personality either grows into a social elite or grows into a social criminal genius. And Huo Kengzi looked at Ji Jueshan, who had a pair of eagle-eyed sharp eyes, and was surprised that he had such a sophisticated detection ability at such a young age. That is the ability that the police can only develop after years of dealing with countless criminals, but the rookie policeman in front of him seems to be born with it. Huo Kengzi didn't know why he didn't use the rookie policeman but the rookie policeman to describe Ji Jueshan, perhaps because the other party had such sharp eyes, but he was so stupid that he couldn't see Qin Juanan's true character and ability. She was worried because she was wearing a skirt that might attract certain types of criminals to commit crimes. Oh, fool! All fools! Huo Kengzi coldly retracted his gaze with Ji Jueshan and commented on him arrogantly. After seeing Qin Juanan, who was still complacent with Ji Jueshan's words, he couldn't help taking her. I'm tired. Hold your brother for you. Qin Juanan suddenly noticed Huo Kengzi's bad gaze amidst his joy, and immediately handed him Huo Qunyu, who had been sleeping in his arms, unhappy. Huo Kengzi hugged him without saying a word, but Qin Juanan pushed past Huo Qunyu's scooter and happily ran on the way home. Du Lu Ji Jueshan stood in place, staring at the back of Huo Kengzi's leaving for a long time. Qin Juanan felt Ji Jueshan's unretracted gaze, and looked back curiously. Then I saw Ji Ju City, wearing a solemn police uniform, standing in the dark as if a strong light standing between the sky and the earth, giving people a strong sense of security and protection inexplicably. At this time Qin Juanan only felt that Ji Jueshan was inexplicably familiar to her, but he couldn't think of where he had met him. Goodbye. Qin Juanan was happy, so after looking back at Ji Jueshan, he did not forget to wave goodbye to him. Ji Jueshan also nodded politely to her, and then continued to focus on Huo Kengzi, a potential social danger. Huo Kengzi felt the gaze of Ji Jueshan's scrutiny, and there was no fluctuation in his heart. He held his younger brother and walked a long way to the subway station. Then Qin Juanan glanced disgustingly because of his breathless breathing. It's useless to have a lot of roads to tire you like this. Huo Kengzi didn't say a word. He walked into the subway with his younger brother, and found a seat to sit down. He calmly put his thin but sturdy younger brother on his lap, liberating the numbness he held all the way. Endless two arms. After taking the subway for nearly an hour, they reached the subway station closest to Qin Jualan's apartment. Huo Kengzi was in front of the next station, rested almost physically, but his hands were still a little uncomfortable, but he still picked up Huo Qunyu and walked out of the subway station silently. Qin Chuanan followed with a smile, and after he got out of the station, he pushed the scooter out and called him to change hands. I can't hold it, I'm really mindless. Qin Chuanan waved his hands and walked home happily after speaking. Tomorrow, the BIM platform will count traffic data. Based on this data, Director Liu will determine the number of bloggers who can sign with you. It is estimated that I will talk to you about signing the contract in the next few days. After signing, I will push your funny talent. Do you have any other blogger styles you want to run? Qin Chuanan returned home and took a shower, and came out to talk to Huo Kengzi about his signing of the blogger. Huo Kengzi stayed in the shadows without saying a word, and silently expressed his resistance to signing with the blogger. Qin Chuanan didn't care what he looked like, but took out his mobile phone and found out a few videos that she had asked a group performer to help her take the time to shoot Huo Kengzi during the day. They are all interesting scenes that record him as a stand-in on the set. When Huo Kengzi saw some of the clips that recorded him acting as a stand-in on the set that also seemed to be business number, he had an unclear premonition in his heart, and as expected, Qin Chuanan arranged a new job for him. I see you as a stand-in part-time job today. I think when you run a blogger account in the future, in addition to regularly updating funny style dances, I think you can also open a daily vlog that records you when you go to do some part-time jobs with me. You can record those interesting scenes. At that time, you can not only make money from part-time jobs, but also make money from vlog videos. Qin Chuanan happily talked about a vlog shooting plan she had suddenly had today. Huo Kengzi immediately colded his face and couldn't help expressing his opposition. I didn't ask for your opinion, I was just letting you know. Qin Chuanan left these words, regardless of how cold Huo Kengzi's depression was. He entered the study with a mobile phone, and turned on the computer to search for her knowledge of blind spots that still existed. Then she quickly sorted out and prepared some evidence and prepared to fight back. Before the lack of soldiers and horses can only avoid her edge, now she is ready to take the initiative to fight back against this network war. When the time comes, she will not be afraid that the other party will bully the less with more. And in a villa on the other side, a person smashed another 3 million to the black marketing company. After waiting for her nephew's enthusiasm, hey, give me continued black. Don't give her any chance to clarify, I want her Qin Chuanan to become a pronoun for peripheral women in the future. When the woman was about to wait for Qin Chuanan to do a clarification on the whole network, she led the navy off the court and killed her. Qin Chuanan locked her down first, and decided on the next day. Huang Zixi. Qin Chuanan used the crew's lunch break to have lunch, and took the time to go to another crew in the film and television city to find a girl who was resting in the crew. Huang Zixi is also a college classmate of the original master Qin Chuanan. In my memory, the two were still very good girlfriends in their freshman year. But it was this former bestie who was probably behind the scenes of the peripheral females yesterday. Huang Zixi. When Huang Zixi saw Qin Chuanan coming, he didn't even lift his eyelids. This was the most common reaction she had after breaking up with the original owner, and more commonly, the sister Huawei next to her jumped out very actively to help her satirize the original owner. Oh, isn't this the peripheral female Qin Chuanan who was on the hot search yesterday? What are you doing here? There is no rich or young to hook you up here. It's really going to rain, Qin Chuanan. What about your 3 dog legs? How dare you come to Zixi alone today to raise your tail? Qin Chuanan, I heard that your new Vorish sister-in-law is dead. You are now a slum princess. Why do you want to come back and hold Zixi's thigh again? Huang Zixi's sister group ridiculed Qin Chuanan one by one, and Qin Chuanan had no emotions about their words, because these were the enemies of the tree that the original owner had asked himself before. When the original owner met them, they were all so bitter and mean, attacking each other with those words. Qin Chuanan combed through the memory of the original owner last night, found out the enemies she had one by one, and then did an investigation before finally confirming Huang Zixi. You bought the Navy to hack me on the internet yesterday. Qin Chuanan asked Huang Zixi directly regardless of other girls' mockery. Huang Zixi played with the manicures she had done the previous 2 days, and still didn't even look at Qin Chuanan, using this to show her disdain for Qin Chuanan. But Qin Chuanan was determined to be her. Because only Huang Zixi's wealth background dared to let the Navy smash the internet and mock Huo Kengzi's father as an upstart, and only she would think that Qin Chuanan was a junior. So Qin Chuanan mentioned Yan Ziqian's name. Or is it because you are jealous that Yan Ziqian fell in love with me at first sight? Qin Chuanan mentioned the greatest hatred between the original owner and Huang Zixi. That is, the freshman and two are considered the best girlfriends in the class, but when Qin Chuanan went to attend Huang Zixi's birthday party in her sophomore year, she met Yan Ziqian, a dog-licking dog, and then she and Huang Zixi had a complete fight. Because Yan Ziqian is the male Huang Zixi has secretly loved for many years, and her family has been working hard to marry Yan Ziqian's family, she is considered the most promising of their top wealthy circles to marry Yan Ziqian. But in the end he lost to the original owner Qin Chuanan. It is not because of the family background that is most important to them in this circle, but because of the beauty of Yan Ziqian's aesthetic point. This made Huang Zixi, who was also a big beauty, almost not angry, and always thought that Qin Chuanan, who had always wanted to enter the class and marry them, was deliberately seduce. In fact, Yan Ziqian's licking dog couldn't move when seeing Qin Chuanan. And Qin Chuanan also caught Yan Ziqian as a spare tire when he discovered that Yan Ziqian was a real top-notch giant. Yes, that's right. Qin Chuanan still has one to irritate Huang Zixi that the male she has been thinking about for many years goes to spare Qin Chuanan. If the two are really in love, Huang Zixi might not be so angry. But the energetic Qin Chuanan still looks down on Yan Ziqian, who has both wealth and appearance, and is still trying to find better wealthy and young people in their circle. This has caused many women in the celebrity circle headed by Huang Zixi, who are afraid of being robbed of men by Qin Chuanan, unite and call her a peripheral bitch. But in fact, Qin Chuanan has always been mixed in the core of the rich second-generation circle, not the kind of peripheral female who is excluded. And by the time of the freshman year, Huang Zixi didn't mind the family gap between Qin Chuanan and her, and was willing to be a girlfriend with Qin Chuanan, because Qin Chuanan didn't approach her because of her family's wealth. Although Qin Chualan's family background is not as good as hers, but the pocket money in her hand is not less than that of the rich second generation who came from the top wealthy, and she has never been like some greedy women who worship for money. Luxury. Qin Chualan asked her sister directly for everything she wanted, and told Huang Zixi that she wanted to join them because she had been rejected by some top-notch celebrities. At that time, Huang Zixi was a little silly and sweet, and later felt that after being robbed of the male god, after looking closely at Qin Chualan, she found that she was so vanity that she felt terrified. Qin Chualan approached her without trying to make money, but to map the top rich and young resources around her. Qin Chualan was still cruel to herself and others in order to cross the class and marry the rich. That's why she crazily wanted to suppress her and prevent her from really entering their top-notch circle. Of course, the biggest goal is not to let her marry Yan Ziqian. That's why she hired the Shui army to black her out, trying to ruin her reputation and increase her chances of getting married by the licking dog Yan Ziqian in the future. Because he wanted to marry a top-notch giant like them, Qin Chualan was a bit high but not too high. This woman is very smart and knew what she wanted very early, so she tried her best to improve her capital for marrying a wealthy family through the entrance exam to a prestigious university. At the same time, her private life can be described as pure. The history of love is also very simple. It seems that there is only one high school first love, and then there is no relationship. Yan Ziqian pursued her frantically, because she was not 100% sure that she would marry him, so she did not give the opportunity to agree to the relationship, but hung herself in the eyes of others. But none of these make her reputation look bad, but rather good. So even if her family background is almost, she can still marry into the Yan family under Yan Ziqian's crazy love. This is true in the original novel. Qin Shuolan finally married Yan Ziqian. What am I jealous of you? Are you worthy? Huang Zixi raised his head to refute Qin Shuonan proudly, but the jealousy in his eyes made Qin Shuonan 100% sure that she was behind the scenes. Give you a chance, apologize to me, and clarify this matter on the entire network. I don't care about this matter because we were also friends. Qin Shuonan didn't want to care too much about the original owner leaving her to her. All kinds of troubles, so I don't want to hit Huang Zixi ruthlessly. So give her a chance to apologize. But Huang Zixi refused to accept, and was very angry with her attitude. What are you? I apologize to you. Huang Zixi is dead. I jumped from here, and I won't apologize to you. Huang Zixi didn't know why she became so angry in Qin Shuonan's magnanimous appearance, pointing to a pond in the large historical drama cruise she was in, and betting on Qin Shuonan. Qin Shuonan didn't entangle her when she saw this, leaving a war post. Then we will see you online tomorrow, turned and left. Hey, Qin Shuolan, did I allow you to go? Huang Zixi called Qin Shuonan, and then began to taunt Qin Shuonan personally without pretending to be noble. Qin Shuolan, your sister-in-law is dead, right? I heard that you recently worked as an intern in a small crew. Tisk tusk, your life is getting worse and worse. Why didn't your little nephew abandon it, Qin Shuolan? You wouldn't be fooled by your nephew that night, you were stupid selling cars, and now you take the bus and subway every day, living like a cheap ant. And those BIM videos you made, are you a beggar? Start living by rewards. Huang Zixi took out all the news she knew and mocked Qin Shuonan. Qin Shuonan couldn't hear it at all, was unmoved, and felt a little funny. It wasn't until she heard the details of her journey that night that she knew she seemed to be betrayed again. And Huang Zixi's words were indeed mocking Qin Shuonan for being a poor lonely man. Qin Shuonan, without your nouveau riche sister-in-law behind, who would be willing to follow you with your 3 dog legs? No? They all rebelled, ha 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 ha. You also learned from me to form a sister group. Your 3 plastic sisters are now selling your illicit materials everywhere. They said that you are crazy, I think it is. They want to abandon the little nephew and not abandon it. Now they are spared no effort to make money and save him. This is not something you will do. Say, do you want to change this to a kind-hearted person? Huang Zixi suddenly asked Qin Shuonan with sharp eyes, but Qin Shuonan started to lose his mind, thinking about the background of the original owner, Qin Shuolan. Qin Shuolan is the old daughter of her parents and has a sister who is 19 years older than herself. Because she was overspoiled by her parents and sister since she was a child, Qin Shuolan was a little spoiled. She has been selfish since she was a child, and she was a little greedy for vanity, and she wanted to marry a wealthy family like her sister. When Qin Shuolan was 17 years old, her parents passed away due to illness. Qin Shuolan began to pay high living expenses and tuition from her sister who married her son. This elder sister supported Qin Shuolan's high consumption level like a cash machine until her husband, the father of the Huo Kengzi brothers, had the company suddenly gone bankrupt 2 months ago. However, as the bad news about the bankruptcy of Huo's father's company came, Huo's father jumped off the building and committed suicide. After giving birth to the youngest son, the sister who was in poor health was hit hard, and died in a few days. Before the sister died, she had only time to ask the elder son to take her younger brother to join her aunt Qin Shuolan, who was an adult and did not have to bear Huo's debts. She died in the hospital without time to see Qin Shuolan, and before Qin Shuonan crossed, Huo Kengzi there is no money for her funeral. Qin Shuolan had some savings in his hand. Not only did he not want to give her sister a decent corpse, but also wanted to drive Huo Kengzi, the older and the younger brothers, out of the house that settled in her name, and finally caused the little Huo Kunyu to become ill. I gave up my legs when I was less than 3 years old. But this house was actually her sister, the mother of Huo Kengzi brothers, because she didn't want to live on campus because of her squeamishness at university. so she bought the full money next to the university. In this regard, Qin Juanan regards Qin Julan as an ungrateful, selfish, and cold-blooded person, so seeing her being retaliated by Huo Kengzi, she feels that she is self-inflicted. But Qin Juanan was a little puzzled. Why would Qin Julan feel that marrying a wealthy family like Yan Ziqian's family, the Huo Kengzi brothers are dragging oil bottles? According to Qin Julan's thinking, she thinks that the only two relatives she has will make those rich second generations look down on her and stop treating her as a goddess. Only then will they take their girlfriends to the house and drive the Huo Kengzi brothers out of the building and settle in her name. Under the house. But it seems that Yan Ziqian is so obsessed with her licking her dog, how could he underestimate her for this? So why Qin Julan had to drive away the two Huo Kengzi brothers so frantically, Qin Juanan suddenly couldn't understand. Qin Julan, are you listening to me? Qin Juanan's distraction angered Huang Zixi. After Huang Zixi yelled at her, he dialed a video call and said that she had a surprise for her. Then Fan Xiaoli appeared on the other end of the video call. Fan Xiaoli connected to Huang Zixi's phone and saw Qin Juanan momentarily embarrassed, but she called Huang Zixi instead of calling Qin Juanan to express the attitude of standing in line, let Qin Juanan know that she was betrayed. If this is the case, then we will cut off our robes. No, we will cut off our skirts. Qin Juanan saw that Fan Xiaoli ran to her enemy's camp so brightly, and immediately pulled up the skirt and prepared to tear a piece of justice with her. But when the hem of the skirt was half pulled, Qin Juanan found that her skirt was a little short today, which was not suitable for cutting the skirt. Tear. Huang Zixi was still immersed in the revenge pleasure of Qin Juanan being taken away by her girlfriend, and suddenly heard a hiss sound. She looked down. Qin Juanan tore two pieces of cloth from her long skirt. Huang Zixi! Huang Zixi, ah, my favorite house, a red dress. Qin Juanan, you! In Huang Zixi's furious scream, Qin Juanan threw her torn cloth to her. You give this piece to Fan Xiaoli, this piece is for you, and I won't show you any more affection. Whether it's the affection of friends in the past or the affection of the same family now. Qin Juanan turned around and left after not looking at the cruel words that had been merciful to her because she was a girl. Huang Zixi jumped angrily, chasing after her angrily shouting, "You are not allowed to go." Qin Juanan ignored her and continued to walk outside, and Huang Zixi chased after her with a skirt that had become undesigned. I kept chasing after the crew and didn't catch up, but I ran into an old professor in their college. What are you doing? The old professor pushed his glasses and asked. I didn't do anything. Qin Juanan saw the school's respected old professor immediately stand upright. Huang Zixi just let go of Qin Juanan's hand, and the others who chased him out had different attitudes. Qin Julan, didn't you not intern here, what are you doing here? The old professor remembered Qin Juanan, knowing that she had turned up the academy to arrange their internship, so this would make her face, and directly told her not to make noise in this place. The crew was filming, and they also trained Huang Zixi and the other girls. You and me come to this large-scale historical crew of Central Stars for internship, which represents the school. Remember not to lose the face of our Imperial Capital Communication University in the crew. Yeah, I know. Qin Juanan nodded prescriptively when the old professor was training her, but the other students who were being trained didn't respond, and only a few voices said they knew. The old professor waved his hand to let everyone go, and Qin Juanan was also ready to leave, but the old professor remembered what would stop her. You will not be allowed to take my ancient costume design as an elective in the next semester. Last semester there were so many missed courses. I don't want a student who is like you in my class. I have taken the makeup exam next week. I don't want you to come to my class. Have you completed the summer internship? If not, you will wait for the whole school to report the repetition. Qin Juanan was scolded by the old professor. She lowered her head and listened obediently without rebutting. She even scolded Qin Juanan in her heart because the old professor mentioned the rejection and makeup exam in her heart. Qin Shuolan could not find such an important academic problem in her memory. Director Chu arrived, then I will come over in a while. Fu Huidao I helped prepare for 3 years, and I am also looking forward to starting it. The old professor suddenly received a call and ended his reprimanding Qin Shuonan, and walked out carrying a large box. Qin Shuonan saw that the big box was twice as large as she had mentioned, and then looked at the old professor's old appearance, and consciously went up to help. This dressing case is very heavy, you girls can't carry it. The old professor said. Qin Shuonan has already lifted the box alone. At that time, Qin Shuonan was somewhat square, and his eyes met the old professor as the air was frozen. This dressing case is very heavy, you girls can't carry it. Qin Shuonan suddenly hoped to turn back time, her hand must not be so fast. The old professor also looked down in a daze to look at Qin Shuonan's slender white hand carrying the big box, and then saw Qin Shuonan overwhelmed with a thought. Oh, I can't move it. Qin Shuonan staggered, pretending to be weak and unable to lift the large suitcase. Let me just say, you girls who don't eat well all day can't carry it. The old professor felt that he hadn't been beaten, and stretched out both hands to carry the makeup case. Give it to me. Qin Shuonan hesitated and took a step back as he looked at the 2 old hands extended in front of him. It's still me. It's okay if I gritted my teeth to mention it. Qin Shuonan quickly put her other hand on the suitcase, pretending that she was working hard with both hands, and refused the old professor. Mention the box. He felt heavy. Professor, where are you going? I'll take you there soon. Qin Shuonan decided to send the old professor to his destination. The old professor hesitated and nodded, seeing how hard she was working hard. Then led Qin Shuonan out of the crew and went to the ancient city on the other side that was still being built. Qin Shuonan tried to pretend to be struggling to lift things all the way, but the old professor told her to put it down when she couldn't lift it, and she insisted on continuing. Seeing that the old professor didn't say anything, he quickly took Qin Shuonan to the ancient city that made Qin Shuonan familiar. Unconsciously, when he was about to enter the tower, Qin Shuonan stretched out a hand and touched the thick and blue city wall. Professor Wu. A cold, low voice came. Qin Shuonan retracted his hands and continued to hold the makeup box with both hands before looking at it smoothly, and then saw a tall man in modern attire leading a few people walking through the majestic city gate with extraordinary tolerance. Come out to meet the old professor. Director Chu, why did you come out to pick me up in person? Professor Wu smiled and greeted Chu Ziyufan before turning around and asking Qin Shuonan to put down the makeup case. My next semester's ancient costume design allows you to come, but you must pass the makeup exam next week, or I will scold you once when I see you. Professor Wu's face suddenly changed his previous statement that Qin Shuonan was not allowed to take his professional class. Qin Shuonan unexpectedly raised his head, and then he was given a lecture on what Professor Wu didn't know. You said you, such a beautiful young girl, why don't you learn well every day? Isn't it good to do things as practically as you just did? You have to learn those frivolous attitudes, which wasted the good looks your parents gave you. I see, Professor. Qin Shuonan looked humbly and obediently, and Chu Ziyufan, who somehow provoked him, chuckled lightly. Qin Shuonan squinted at him dissatisfied, and then was taken aback by the deep and steady in his eyes. When he suspected that he had heard the wrong person smile, Chu Ziyufan with soared eyebrows and stars like a crown yelled out to Wu. The professor went to dinner. Everything is ready, Professor Wu will move with his lover. Chu Ziyufan said and made a request, and Professor Wu hurriedly responded with a smile. Let's go, you're a coincidence today. Professor Wu asked Qin Shuonan to go to lunch together. Qin Shuonan, who was planning to go back to the crew for dinner after sending it off, also followed. No need to carry it. When Professor Wu saw Qin Shuonan following him, he subconsciously went to help him carry the makeup case and called out. When Qin Shuonan thought that the makeup case was going to be placed here, Professor Wu took out a small remote control and pressed a button. Then Qin Chuanen's eyes widened to see the makeup case she had just carried, and suddenly 4 wheels protruded from the bottom. There are wheels. It was the first time I saw Qin Chuanen, a modern telescopic high-tech man, and I was really shocked. What was even more shocking was that the makeup box turned out of wheels, without being pushed, and walked directly behind Professor Wu like Cheng Jing. Oh! Qin Chuanen suddenly exclaimed, and then quickly followed Professor Wu, behind the makeup case where he would walk, like a child who discovered some novel toy, observing the makeup case with excitement. Hat! Chu Ziyufan chuckled again, and several assistants who followed him showed surprised expressions. They didn't understand why their family's always mysterious and cold boss was laughing today. Professor Wu, you are a big man. You are here so late, and you have to pick it up by Director Chu himself. A group of people walked into a decorated hall in the castle tower. A middle-aged man sitting there waiting could not help but make a sour noise. As if he hadn't heard, Professor Wu took Qin Chuanen to sit next to the main seat. In the 2 seats, tell her not to be cautious and just eat quietly for a while. Professor Wu, is this the actress who came to fix the makeup today or your new apprentice? Many people noticed that the outstanding Qin Chuanen was sitting with Professor Wu instead of the director Chu Ziyufan, and guessed that she is not a female star, but the apprentice of Professor Wu. But Professor Wu explained, it's just a student, not an apprentice. I no longer accept direct disciples. Professor Wu said that when he was not accepting disciples, he didn't know if it was Qin Chuanen's illusion. He felt that Professor Wu was a bit emotional, as if he was unhappy about something. After that, the meal will be served. Qin Chuanen looked at the dishes served with the ancient food utensils that she was familiar with, such as gui, beans, and pots, and was surprised. Then, after listening to the people around him, he realized that this is a new dish directed by Chu Ziyufan. The chef team of the movie Zhongshan Enters the War archaeologically designed the dishes. Isn't the dishes using fake props? Why is this movie prepared to use real dishes? Qin Chuanen asked Professor Wu somewhat unexpectedly based on the set knowledge she knew in emergency rescue, and Professor Wu knew that she had not yet been exposed to high-level service. The Tao team is realistic and meticulous in this regard. This play has been in preparation for the filming for 3 years. I am the chief costume and styling designer of this play. I have designed and restored more than 3,000 costumes and styling designers based on archaeological and ancient documents for this play. Sets of costumes. The one diagonally across from me is Liu Batao, a professor in the archaeology department of the School of History of Imperial Capital University. This time he is a specially appointed historical and cultural instructor. The props on his right are all major players in several industries, followed by sculpture. An artist, a harness maker, a prop leather designer, a master of jewelry setting. Professor Wu pointed to the prop artists who were in charge of the film, and said that they were good identities, in order to tell Qin Chuanen how much material and manpower was used in the 3-year preparation to pursue the most sophisticated way of service. Director Chu is willing to spend money on serving the road, and is also willing to give us time to polish it. Today is a celebration party that everyone has prepared, and it is also a finished product exchange meeting. Professor Wu looked like Qin Chuanen had the honor to witness such a grand event today, but Qin Chuanen thought that she also ate almost the same, and needed to rush back to the emergency rescue crew to put makeup on the actors. Did you have an internship? Professor Wu was a little surprised, but immediately showed a look of relief, and asked her where she was on the crew. After Qin Chuanen said one by one, when she heard that she was thinking about leaving for the internship, she felt that she was silly and cute. You go back and put on 100 makeup for the actors. Why don't you stay here to take a look at the finished costumes and the art of these experts? Professor Wu felt that it was a rare opportunity to stay with Qin Chuanen, and Qin Chuanen called his senior sister Yang Linlin to ask for leave. When Yang Linlin heard that she and Professor Wu, the old professor who had taken her, she immediately approved. After that, Qin Juanan learned a lot of craftsmanship with Professor Wu, and also looked at a lot of design drawings, which gave her a new high-end understanding of the service of the film and television industry. It also made her admire Professor Wu and those big shots. I feel that they have reached a certain peak height in a certain field. Professor Wu, why are you willing to bring people to the exchange meeting this time? At the end of the exchange meeting, a group of people returned to the original hall to sit, drink tea and chat. The middle-aged man who had spoken sourly to Professor Wu before brought a young disciple over. This middle-aged man is the etiquette guide for this film and a professor at a normal school. He brought his disciples to Professor Wu. Professor Wu obviously didn't want to talk, but the middle-aged professor deliberately introduced the young disciples he brought over to Professor Wu and Qin Juanan. This is my closed disciple Yang Jing. Today is also the first time I have taken him to such a grand event, so that he can get to know you old seniors, and Yang Jing will offer tea to the seniors. Professor Etiquette led his disciples to Professor Wu after a wave of showing off. He suddenly introduced him to several nearby experts in a loud voice, and asked Yang Jing to show off the ancient tea art on the spot. Qin Juanan watched Yang Jing sitting at a tea table in a gentle manner, cooking a pot of tea with a set of tea sets in the manner of an ancient tea ceremony, then poured out a few cups and sent them to the hands of some older experts. Finally, I sent a cup of tea to Professor Wu. Professor Wu held out his hand to pick it up with a deep complexion, but Qin Juanan stretched out his hand and took a step away, and poured tea on Yang Jing's face. Who do you curse? Can the tea ceremony be done on this occasion? After Qin Juanan poured the tea, in the astonished look around him, he said the insult and curse Yang Jing had just sent to Professor Wu. Qin Juanan clearly saw that Yang Jing used normal elders to respect tea for other professors, but when he got to Professor Wu, he changed his actions. Ming Huang was offering tea to the dead. Moreover, the end tea was served, and the insult was obvious. What do you know? The professor of etiquette discovered that Qin Juanan's small gesture of venting for him by the closed disciple was actually exposed by Qin Juanan. After being surprised, he immediately reprimanded Qin Juanan and said she was talking nonsense. Then I'll also give you a cup of sacrifice. Qin Juanan picked up a cup of tea that had been brewed from the tea table next to him, and offered the sacrifice to the professor of etiquette, who understood the culture of etiquette. His face was pale with anger. Please use tea. Qin Juanan originally made an irreverent tea ceremony with one hand, but in the end he held the tea cup with both hands and respectfully spit out the words of etiquette, no matter if it is for people or for ghosts and gods to respect tea. Bow to the etiquette professor 3 times. Puff. Someone around could not help being amused by Qin Juanan's dazzling gesture of respecting the dead. Professor Wu was outraged by Yang Jing's little action, which would also amused Qin Juanan's naughty and relieved action. Students are stubborn and make everyone laugh. Professor Wu pulled back Qin Juanan, who was still confronting Su Kun, the professor of etiquette, smiled and said to the people around him for Qin Juanan. Then he pulled Qin Juanan to an empty tea table and asked her how she understood ancient tea ceremony. From elementary school. Qin Juanan answered instinctively, and then Professor Wu called for a performance. Qin Juanan didn't push away either. After sitting right in front of him, he cleaned his hands and started to scald the cup, pick the tea, wash the tea, make tea, sencha, order tea, pour tea, serve tea. Professor Wu looked at Qin Juanan's tea-cocaine movements after cleaning his hands. He was surprised at her proficiency and atmospheric freeness. He did not expect that he would gradually calm down with Qin Juanan's mind-free tea-cocaine movements. Until Qin Juanan offered him the tea with both hands, Professor Wu was still in his suddenly calm and peaceful mind. So he took the tea calmly, took a sip slowly, and felt comfortable in his body and mind that there were no worries in life. The people who have been following Qin Juanan and Professor Wu are also amazed by Qin Juanan's tea art that seems to calm the world. Among them, Professor Yang Batao, a professor of history and archaeology, walked over and asked Qin Juanan for a cup of tea. After that, many people came to Qin Juanan to ask for tea. Qin Juanan divided the tea and cooked it several times. Qin Juanan generously divided tea and served tea, and his mind was in a very peaceful state at this moment. In this state, the director Chu Ziyufan also asked her for a cup of tea, and asked her curiously, "Why don't you use the ladies' tea ceremony?" Chu Ziyufan's words were calm and gentle, casual and natural. Qin Juanan seemed to be topped with a bucket of cold water. She suddenly remembered her current status as a girl, and she was already very unsuitable for making tea in the manner of a gentleman's tea ceremony. "What's happenin'?" Chu Ziyufan noticed Qin Juanan suddenly stiff back, and he didn't understand why she suddenly seemed to have made a big mistake. At this moment, Chu Ziyufan didn't think there was anything wrong with women using men's tea ceremony to serve tea. He was simply curious why Qin Juanan didn't use ladies' tea ceremony. But his words gave the etiquette professors and apprentices who were slapped by Qin Juanan on the one hand. They seemed to have caught Qin Juanan's handle, and loudly pointed out that her tea-making etiquette was wrong. "How can a girl sit and make tea with a careless attitude like you, and your gesture of holding a cup, or giving someone a gesture of making tea, the pinch is wrong." The etiquette professor took out his knowledge of this aspect and began to approve Qin Juanan from head to toe, as if this would be able to judge the men's tea ceremony that Qin Juanan just showed to others as wrong. Chu Ziyufan frowned displeasedly, and opened his lips as he was about to say something. Qin Juanan heard the professor of etiquette pick up her beautifully trimmed eyebrows, and wittily returned that. "Professor Etiquette said, I'm not showing you the correct men's tea ceremony for your lover? He didn't know how to give tea to the elder teachers. I corrected it, but I'm afraid he would not understand. Some people talk about a lot of knowledge, but they only talk about it on paper." After Qin Juanan satirized the etiquette professor and apprentice with a pun, he immediately adjusted his sitting posture gracefully. She put away her open legs sitting under the tea table, softened her lower limbs, and began to recook tea based on her memory, imitating her sister's actions every time she made tea. Then the people around discovered that Qin Juanan, who was as unrestrained as an ancient celebrity, had completely changed his temperament. Her tea-cocaing movements are still flowing like clouds and flowing water, but instead of giving people a sense of calmness like the high mountains and flowing water before, but the poetic and pictorial beauty that gives people the sound of piano, rhyme, and the sound of books on the left and right. At this moment, Qin Juanan is wearing a modern skirt, but he still gives people the illusion of a lady who is dignified and graceful, as if she has come out of an ancient painting. Professor Wu looked a little surprised, and countless ancient ladies appeared in their minds in their elegant dresses. He couldn't help taking out the pen and paper he carried with him from his pocket, and quickly and simply recorded the inspiration that burst out of his mind. And his art experts, at this time, were also surprised by the two temperaments Qin Juanan showed before and after, and they discussed behind the media that the University of Communications had a great student. "Thank you for defending me today." Professor Wu and Qin Juanan walked out of the ancient city built by the crew of Zhang Shan entering the war and suddenly thanked her when they were separated. Qin Juanan was a little surprised. Isn't it a matter of course for students to protect their teachers? Seeing the surprise on Qin Juanan's face, the serious Professor Wu smiled, and then said that she seemed to have grown up a lot overnight. "It's sensible and reasonable," Professor Wu said, and began to wonder about the family of Qin Zhuo's Nan family. "Your family should have a rich history and scholarship, but your previous behaviors are not as good as today's poems and books temperament." Professor Wu said again what surprised Qin Juanan. He actually thought that Qin Juanan learned the favorite tea art of literati since he was a child, and it must be influenced by the elders in the family. And a family with such a nurturing heritage must be a scholarly family, and a scholarly family that pursues the education of gentlemen and ladies. However, Qin Juanan's family will not be rated as scholarly by the world, not in the current generation, nor in future generations. Because Qin Juanan's family was the most prestigious family of generals in the Hua dynasty, generations of Qin family men stayed at the border, and the literary temperament of this family has long been forgotten by the world. Only other prestigious families with hundreds of years of inheritance know that the Qin family is not an ordinary general. The children of their family are all elites of civil and military training. If it weren't for the fact that the border has not been closed, and the foreign races have been watching the majestic rivers and mountains, the Qin family men can enter the officialdom with literature instead of Wuhan country. The Qin family allowed their children to study both civil and martial arts, also because of family precepts. Qin family's 26th family motto, literary but not weak, force but not violence. To do this, you must study both civil and military skills. Because the ancestors of the Qin family believed, if you don't learn martial arts, you will be weak, and if you don't learn martial arts, you will be violent. Therefore, the children of the Qin family must not only practice martial arts since they were young, but also receive the education of gentlemen's 6 arts, 5 virtues, and 4 cultivation. Be careful on the way back to the crew of your elder sister, and send me a message when you arrive. Professor Wu got into the car that the crew took him home and told Qin Chuanan, who was not ready to leave the studio. Qin Chuanan obediently responded and watched his car leave in place before turning around and hurried to the crew of emergency rescue. So she didn't know that Professor Wu was talking to his wife in the car at this time. If she will be so polite and sensible in the future, I might consider accepting her as a closed disciple and taking her to some shows. Come on, you have old bones. If you meet another deceiver who deceives your ancestors, you are afraid that you will be mad at you. Did you forget Cao Liu's lesson? Professor Wu's wife objected to him suddenly coming. Idea. And Professor Wu called her disgustingly because of the name he mentioned. Don't mention the beast. Today, the professor of etiquette is the brother of the beast's wife. Because I refuse to work with the beast can't participate in Chu Dao's university. I have a grudge against me during production, and I often find things for me in the crew. Professor Wu mentioned the entanglement between him and the professor of etiquette, and his wife couldn't help but said angrily, how come such a depraved person joins Chu Ziyufan's production team? That Chu Ziyufan, although he is very young, has taken the World Awards crazy for the 3 films he made. Now that he is the first talented director in China, no one would dare to question him. Who is in the circle now? Soing wants to join his production team and win the prize together. Professor Wu talked about Chu Ziyufan's current position in the director circle, and his wife also mentioned several movies made by Chu Ziyufan. What do you think of this person's background? He could make a stunning work like Qin Wang sweeping the 6 combinations at the age of 20. I still remember the global sensational reaction when this movie came out 7 years ago. No one dared to talk about China anymore. It's impossible to make a Western epic war movie. Yes, after the movie came out, some people said that watching China's historical wars, you will find that the so-called epic wars filmed by many countries are just village fights. Professor Wu and his wife went home after a small chat, but Chu Ziyufan called the deputy director and asked the professor of etiquette how to find it. I don't know the 5 virtues and teach actors the old manners. Is he absurd, or are you absurd? Chu Ziyufan asked this sentence in a cold, low voice without any emotion, but the assistant director, who was much older than him, began to sweat on his forehead. The assistant director hurriedly explained that it was recommended to him by a friend, and he did not know the other party's bad conduct. I'll tell him to off right away and invite other etiquette experts. The deputy director suggested a remedy to Chu Ziyufan. Chu Ziyufan didn't speak, but just glanced at him lightly, and he knew that Chu Ziyufan was warning him that there was no next time. Why are you back again? I approve you not to use it this day. When Qin Chuanan returned to the crew, Yang Linlin was surprised to see her. The crew is almost finished in these 2 days. I know it's very busy. Come back and help. Qin Chuanan opened the makeup case and took out the tools to make up for the group performers at the shooting scene. This afternoon, because she asked for leave, someone was responsible for her. The actress who was in charge before. Yang Linlin didn't say anything when she saw this, but at the end of all shooting at night, she told Qin Chuanan not to go back because of the bad weather outside. There is one room in my suite in the crew hotel. Don't go back tonight. Go to my place to rest. Okay. Qin Chuanan agreed with kindness as he looked at the sky where lightning and thunder were beginning to intersect and it was about to rain heavily. Then follow me, you haven't been to the hotel packaged by the crew yet. Yang Linlin led Qin Chuanan towards the hotel, and then asked about her follow-up about being hacked online. When are you going to clarify? Let's take a moment. Qin Chuanan looked at the replies that he had received on his mobile phone, and suddenly changed his mind temporarily and advanced the clarification action he planned to take tomorrow to tonight. There is no need to take the subway to go home. I suddenly had more than an hour to solve the matter. Anyway, I am idle. Qin Chuanan said lightly about the big counterattack she was about to do, and Yang Linlin felt amused inexplicably. How do you say that hitting a child on a rainy day is the same as being idle anyway? Huang Zixi, who was suddenly beaten by Qin Chuanan in idle time, was also very confused and panicked when she discovered that she was beaten by Qin Chuanan on the internet. She even forgot to call the black marketing company to help her resist Qin Chuanan's clarification that she did not follow the rules on the internet. Instead, she dialed Qin Chuanan's phone and asked her angrily, "You are not saying that a genius is with me. See you online." Huang Zixi felt that she was tricked by Qin Chuanan, and Qin Chuanan felt that she was stupid, and replied, "Do you understand the surprise attack?" Then he hung up the phone, leaving Huang Zixi alone on the other end of the phone, so angry that he separated. After smashing a lot of things in the room, she remembered to call the black marketing company to help her fight back against Qin Chuanan. The black marketing company said they couldn't help Huang Zixi resist Qin Chuanan's violent questions from the entire network. Qin Chuanan's operations are too sly, and they are ranked first in the hot search. Our small company can't suppress such hot news. You can quickly find a professional public relations team to solve this crusade. When the general manager hung up, Huang Zixi realized that Qin Chuanan's counterattack was more serious than she thought. Wow, this is the Weibo of Chimay Power Group's daughter. I didn't expect such a celebrity would actually buy the hot search black classmates to be peripheral girls. Little princess of Chimay Power Group, did you know that BIM goddess Qin Chuanan asked you to apologize on Weibo? Huang Zixi, did you really hire so many Navy soldiers and marketing numbers for Yan Ziqian, the heir of the rock group, to discredit Qin Chuanan, a college classmate? Are celebrities so scary now? Bullying beautiful female classmates with money to do whatever they want. Huang Zixi, read the content of your Navy black Qin Chuanan, you are really vicious. Huang Zixi saw the netizen following Qin Chuanan at Xi's clarification portal to her latest Weibo and scolded her, so she was panicked. It was the first time that she faced such a huge online crusade. She rushed to find a public relations company and asked them how to deal with Qin Chuanan's clarification on Weibo, which made everything clear. On her side, you only have the detailed process of selling the hot search list mercenary Navy and the marketing account hacking her, but there is no 100% proof that you did these things. You will now post a denial Weibo on the internet, and then close the comments. We will use the company to help you clarify. The public relations company has very experienced advice. After Huang Zixi did the same, Qin Chuanan will let her come back immediately. Qin Chuanan at Sika, please provide evidence without proof. Then Qin Chuanan posted some evidence on the internet that she could accuse Huang Zixi of slandering her, which made Huang Zixi's public relations team bigger. They have not seen such a battle opponent who is sincere in accepting death. The network is torn down, how can there be such a case, and all the evidence must be submitted. Moreover, Qin Chuanan not only has a statement about the physical evidence, but she also asked a person with real name authentication to help her clarify other illicit information about her on the internet. These black materials are rumors that other unknown groups hacked her private life in high school and spread rumors around wealthy businessmen. Qin Chuanan, this is my high school monitor at Is It Thin Today? She will speak on behalf of our classmates about my life in high school. If you have any questions, you can also ask her. She and other high school classmates who are willing to help me clarify will help me answer my questions under her Weibo. Qin Julan, this is my high school class teacher at. He will testify for me on behalf of the school. There is no online abortion bullying by unknown classmates in my high school. Do you have any questions about my academic studies? Ask my head teacher, and the teacher will help me answer my questions. Qin Julan, this is the only neighbor in my high school. She said that she didn't break the news that my high school often stayed out at night, xxxxxxx etc. Qin Juanan at a group of real name authentication classmates, teachers, and neighbors clarified the false information about Qin Jualan on the internet. She can find the numbers that hacked her on the internet, and asked them to come out for real name authentication. What kind of evidence is there for the classmate beside her to say that about her? This tiger's compelling way of acting scared not only those who hacked her, but also the netizens who eat melons. So she quickly gained popularity on the hot search lists of major social platforms by squeezing the popularity of hot searches on steel pipes and the discussion that her nephew was still forced to open on the entire network. Qin Jualan, who had done everything, watched it not early, but ignored these discussions on the internet. After sending a few thank you messages to those classmates and teachers who were willing to help her clarify after she was contacted, she washed up and went to bed. And this night of thunder and lightning is destined to be a sleepless night for many people. Help in the middle of the night, Qin Juanan suddenly heard a woman's screams in horror in her sleep. Her brain was still not awake, but her hand was instinctively to take her Qin's gun. My Qin Jia Erlang hasn't died yet, Hu Lu doesn't want to deceive my Dawa people. With this effort, Qin Juanan's consciousness was completely awakened, and only when she looked at the ceiling of the completely modern business style did she know where she is now. She was stunned, then lifted the quilt, jumped out of the bed quickly, casually put on a set of clothes that Yang Linlin lent her to wear tomorrow and ran out of the hotel, looking in the direction of the scream she heard. The rain outside was very heavy and the voice was very mixed, but Qin Juanan still relied on extraordinary ear power to find the woman who was in danger. Stop it! Seeing a man tyrannically pressing a girl in the woods from afar, Qin Juanan snorted and rushed up. That sound was not the gentle and sweet female voice she used daily after crossing, but the thick and low male voice that she herself hadn't noticed. That was her accustomed voice in ancient times, so almost as soon as the voice came out, the tyrannical man was frightened and weakened. He had never heard the voice of such a majestic and upright man. The tyrannical man thought it was a sturdy man who was frightened and didn't dare to turn his head. He dropped the woman he had dragged into the woods and ran away hurriedly. Qin Juanan did not chase him, but went to check on the woman who was almost raped. She almost subconsciously took off the coat she was wearing and put it on the woman's torn skirt, which was bare, before she helped him. Stand up! In the panic, the woman did not even notice that Qin Juanan was also a woman in the rainy night, because she also heard the majestic violence. When she cried and begged Qin Juanan to help her call the police, Qin Juanan took her cell phone that was thrown aside by the criminal and asked her to call the police herself. Soon the police came and took them back to the police station. The woman slowly calmed down and realized that Qin Juanan was a girl who had gone to negotiate with the police about the criminal's escape direction and appearance. A girl who looks several times weaker than her. Ji Jueshan, who was in charge of the police outing, saw that Qin Juanan was the person who had acted bravely this time, and he also had a question mark on his face. I was also terrified. But he still frightened him with a loud shout. Now his legs are so soft. Qin Juanan said softly but stood straight, but not many people doubted her being so slender. The credibility of the thin woman's words. Including Jeju City. Because he is now wet, Qin Juanan, who is clinging to his pajamas in the hotel, looks even thinner and has no power to bind chickens. And Qin Juanan didn't have any criminal traits, so as long as she didn't look at her completely innocent eyes with scrutiny, all the police including Ji Jueshan believed her. Including the rescued woman, she thought that the man's violence was an auditory hallucination under the panic and collapse at the time. Until the police arrested the criminal within half an hour based on the appearance information and escape direction information given by Qin Chuanan, the criminal confessed to all his actions at the time and mentioned that he was scared away by the dignified male voice. But at that time, it was a recorder who had not sent the police, so he didn't think about it. The more important thing was to cross-examine the other party about the details of the crime so that they could prosecute him later. I really like her. From the moment I saw her in the studio, I liked her. This is my first time. I didn't succeed but failed. I was drunk at the time and I couldn't help myself. The impulse she likes. The criminal man began to plead for himself. Qin Chuanan also made a confession and could leave. Ji Jueshan prepared to send her back to the hotel for her safety. The criminal saw Qin Chuanan's eyes shine at the window of the interrogation and blew, flirting with her whistle. Qin Chuanan was furious at that time, and turned his head to see the evil thoughts shining in the eyes of the clerk. And that's not even counted. The girl who came to identify her by the scumbag actually told her with her mouth silently when the police were not paying attention, "I'll be out soon." The girl was scared and collapsed on the spot and screamed. Miscellaneous pretended to be innocent and said he did nothing. What is the modern sentence for attempted rape? Isn't it a death sentence? Qin Chuanan believed what the girl said when she collapsed, so asked Ji Jueshan. Just like an endorsement, Ji Jueshan stated exactly what the law stipulated was a fixed-term imprisonment of not less than 3 years and not more than 10 years. Is it just in jail for so many years? Qin Chuanan was surprised that Hyundai's sentence was so light, so he stayed in the police station for a while on the excuse of appeasing the woman who was killed by the collapse. Qin Chuanan said goodbye to the woman who was finally calmed down by her, and then left the police station with Ji Jueshan when someone from the detention center came to take the criminal out of the police station. At that time, the rain outside was still heavy. Ji Jueshan took an umbrella to cover him and Qin Chuanan. Qin Chuanan was also wearing a large towel provided by the police station, so no one could see her at the university. There was a stone in his hand under the towel. What? With a scream sounded, Ji Jueshan guarded Qin Chuanan's umbrella, and ran to check on the screaming criminal, and then he saw the criminal screaming screams rolling around on the ground holding his lower body. As the night was very deep, there was heavy rain, and the surrounding light was very dim. At first everyone did not see that the blood leaking from the man's hand was not rain. I don't know what he has experienced, and thought he had a sudden illness. Only Qin Chuanan, who was holding an umbrella, did not wait for Ji Ju City, who insisted on escorting her back to the hotel, and walked towards the hotel with brisk steps. Since you can't control it, let's use Yang Ji. After Ji Jueshan assisted other policemen in sending the criminal to an ambulance, he didn't see Qin Chuanan when he looked back. He asked someone that she was leaving under an umbrella and drove to chase her. But after chasing to the hotel, Ji Jueshan did not see Qin Chuanan. At that time, Ji Jueshan's heart was lifted, and he opened the car door and prepared to search carefully all the way back, only to see Qin Chuanan holding an umbrella from a small forest on the roadside, wandering out like an outing. Seeing Jueshan's pretty eyebrows this season, he frowned. But before he walked over to criticize Qin Chuanan said with an unexpected look when he saw him. I said I don't need to give it away, why are you chasing me? That's right, you take this umbrella back. Qin Chuanan said that he would return the umbrella to him, and then walked into the hotel, but after walking a few steps, he remembered what came back, and returned the big towel to Ji Jueshan. Ji Jueshan was holding an umbrella in one hand and a big towel in the other, and suddenly he didn't know what he was here for. Don't try to save trouble on the path in the woods instead of the road, do you know the woods, are you injured? Ji Jueshan caught up with Qin Chuanan again, preparing to give her a female safety education, but suddenly noticed that Qin Xuanen's white hotel pajamas had bright red blood stains. Injured? Nothing. The bloodstain behind him is, cough cough. Ji Jueshan stared at the location of Qin Xuanen's bloodstain, raised his hand and wanted to show Qin Xuanen who hadn't noticed anything, but suddenly thought of a possibility. Embarrassingly stopped and coughed. Qin Xuanen was completely unaware of this at this time, and was still looking around for bloodstains on his body. When I looked back and saw that it was a little behind the buttocks, it was really strange where she was stained with blood. Oh, you go back to the hotel to deal with it first. While embarrassed, Ji Jueshan did not forget to put the big towel in his hand on Qin Xuanen's shoulders again and help her do it. Occlude. Go back now, don't catch the cold. Ji Jueshan urged Qin Xuanen, who still didn't understand what was going on. Qin Xuanen walked back to the hotel with a look of confusion. Qin Xuanen returned to the hotel suite where Yang Linlin lived, and Yang Linlin exclaimed at the sight of the bloodstain behind Qin Xuanen. Bad girl, go out to get in the rain after the moon is coming, you are going to buy sanitary napkins and tell me. Qin Xuanen was stunned in place. Monthly. Gishui, I actually came here. For a long time, Qin Xuanen murmured to himself with some surprises as he looked at the blood stains. Because in her previous life, she disguised herself as a man and never came to such a thing until she died. But when she was 13 years old, she had read medical books and knew that she should have come to her age as a girl, but she waited year after year and she did not have menarche, which almost became a serious illness after she was 16. Bad girl, why are you standing stupid? Go and change your clothes. Look at your pale face, do you have a pain in your stomach? Yang Linlin didn't know Qin Xuanen's inner shock now, but just talked about her as her elders love to worry about her. Go change clothes. Qin Xuanen rushed back to her room and touched her aching belly, but he didn't take it to heart. Because that bit of pain was really negligible for the big and small injuries she had to face on the battlefield. This is why she walked all the way back, her stomach hurts, and she didn't know about the menstrual affairs. It's really here. Going to a bathroom, Qin Xuanen changed the clothes that Yang Linlin gave her again, and clumsily changed herself into modern sanitary napkins. He still couldn't help being surprised by the physiological characteristics that represented a certain maturity of women. Shuolan, are you suffering from dysmenorrhea? Then don't go to the crew today. I will settle your internship fee for you. After you finish the crew, don't come for the 2 days. Go home and rest. Raise your body, I feel a little scared from the way you look now. Yang Linlin came to see Qin Xuanen uneasy again, and found that her skin, which was as white as Swexu, was now pale and weak and scary, so she hurriedly told her to end her internship and go home to take a good rest. Go back and buy an old hen to boil soup to replenish your body, do you know? You young people just don't know how to cherish your body, so menstruation will be as difficult as a catastrophe. Yang Linlin talked about Qin Xuanen like an old mother. Qin Xuanen listened with a smile. I don't know why Yang Linlin felt sorry for her. She gave her an internship fee of RMB 8,000 for 15 days and helped her get a taxi hailing app. Take a taxi. But because of rainy weather and suburbs, it has not been able to hit. When Yang Linlin wanted Qin Xuanen to stay in the hotel for 1 day and wait for tomorrow to return, her assistant Xiao Lu volunteered. I have a small motorcycle, let me send Xiao Qin to the subway station. Oh, I haven't ride a small motorcycle yet, try it today. Qin Xuanen didn't wait for Yang Linlin to refute Xiao Liu's suggestion, she first agreed with excitement, and carried her dressing case, and went out of the room in a hurry. Xiao Lu took the car key to catch up, but Qin Xuanen met Jeju City, who was still waiting there, in the lobby. There are new discoveries in the case last night. The criminal you helped capture may be a serial killer, or a serial killer who may have an accomplice. Ji Jueshan told Qin Xuanen a new result, reminding her to be careful of getting revenge recently. I'm not sure if the gang saw you, but you should be more careful. The criminal has just been attacked by an unknown object in his lower body. He is now frantically making trouble in the hospital. The media has caused a disturbance on the internet. We suspect that he is taking advantage of this. Send messages to your accomplices, so you must be aware of your own safety protection recently. Ji Jueshen's deep voice couldn't help but increase his tone when he said the last sentence, because this time he noticed the disapproval in Qin Chuanen's eyes. Well, I know. Qin Chuanen asked Xiao Lu perfunctorily, but Xiao Lu, who was standing not far away, looked at the tall, mighty and handsome Jeju City, and he couldn't move. Step. Qin Chuanen called her twice before she recovered and said, "My little motorcycle is here, let's go." "Where are you going? I will drive you." When Ji Jueshen heard Xiao Lu talking about small motorcycles, he watched the continuous rain outside and immediately wanted to help them with a sense of responsibility. Okay, you send them off." Miss Lu heard that the tall and handsome policeman was going to drive a jeep to send them off, and she immediately helped Qin Chuanen agree. Qin Chuanen said, "No, we have a small motorcycle." Qin Chuanen walked outside with the makeup case. Seeing this, Ji Jueshen wanted to help her, but she still refused. "No, I can lift such a small cosmetic case," Qin Chuanen said as if to prove that she could lift it. He carried her cosmetic case and left without looking back. Xiao Lu stayed behind, reacting like a daughter of Qin Chuanen iron and steel, and then caught up. Ji Jueshen pondered for a while, and also caught up with her and left her a business card. "I am Ji Jueshen, Criminal Investigation Brigade, Haikan District Public Security Bureau of Emperor City. This is my police business card. If you have recently been tracked by a suspicious person or encountered any difficulties, please contact me according to the number above. You won't encounter any difficulties, don't leave it to me, wait, your name is Ji Jueshen." Qin Chuanen refused to say halfway, surprised by Ji Jueshen's name. Because if she remembers correctly, in the series of crime novels where Huo Kengzi and Huo Cunha brothers are located, Ji Jueshen is the most popular expert in solving crimes and criminal psychology. In the series of novels, Ji Jueshen, as the captain of the crime detection team, is specially set up to detect and arrest criminal geniuses with high IQ who are difficult to catch, like the Huo Cunha brothers. "Yes, my name is Ji Jueshen, have you heard of me?" Today's Ji Jueshen is not as fierce as the captain described in the novel 10 years later. But the introverted and low-key character, thick and thin, and full of sense of responsibility and obligation, has already manifested. The angular face is not as green as a police officer who just graduated from school, but has a masculine flavor that makes countless girls beloved. But Qin Chuanen was only surprised by the identity of the other party, and then refused his police business card again, and urged Xiao Lu to ride her motorcycle and quickly send her to the subway station. "I'm so tired all of a sudden, I want to go home and sleep." Qin Chuanen stepped on Xiao Lu's scooter as he said, and Xiao Lu glanced at Jeju City, a superb male god, before riding her beloved scooter in a complex mood, and sent Qin Chuanen to the subway under the heavy rain. Station. When he got to the subway station, Xiao Lu, who had endured and endured, couldn't help but complain about Qin Chuanen. "Xiao Qin, it's no wonder that you are so beautiful and have no boyfriend. You are single because of your strength. The red thread that Yu Lao used to pull you with steel bars just now was broken by you." Qin Chuanen did not return home all night, and Huo Kengzi did not sleep that night. He has been paying attention to the thunder that Qin Chuanen dropped on the internet last night. Huang Zixi has cancelled his Weibo account, and the family has paid money and removed the hot search about her and the Chi Mei Power Group. Netizens can no longer search the internet for number or number related vocabulary. Huang Zixi was also severely scolded by her parents, who never talked badly about her for causing the family stock price to fluctuate a bit. Emil. And as society's most concerned about the hot discussion of the rich second-generation bullying civilians was forcibly suppressed, the focus of the internet naturally tilted to Qin Zhuanan's clarification of high school's private life. Qin Zhuanan became the first person in history to find real people on Weibo to clarify the black material. Netizens who love to eat melon rushed to the high school classmates, teachers, and neighbors she circled to clarify and asked them curious questions one after another on Weibo. Then I got a chance to eat Qin Zhuanan's high school melon openly, especially Qin Zhuanan's high school classmates, who had the most explosions. But they are all innocuous things, and most of them use some small things they know to illustrate Qin Zhuanan's arrogant little princess, and really disdain to do those low-level things. The 5th middle school of the imperial capital, the little princess is busy dressing up, busy studying, busy falling in love. A Weibo account that was certified by the monitor of Qin Zhuanan High School and was also an old classmate, smoothly mentioned a love affair in Qin Zhuanan High School on the internet. The high school squad leader hurriedly deleted it when he saw it, but some netizens couldn't bear to see it and curiously asked the emperor's 5th middle school to carry the account number and directly chased it under the other party's Weibo. Only then did the classmate realize that he had said something wrong, no longer speak, but can't bear that other students in the 5th middle school of the imperial capital knew there a love in the city between school flowers and school grass. And the man of allure is picked out by netizens and may be a popular male celebrity now. So all of a sudden, this melon expanded from celebrity circle, high school circle to entertainment circle. And just as number climbed the tail of the hot search, the news of police assaulting the suspect and causing the other party's lower body to break was in the top 5 of the hot search. Huo Kengzi didn't even look at such a hot search. However, he inadvertently swiped the surveillance video released by the Imperial Public Security Bureau to clarify that there was no false news about black police beating criminals and causing injuries. The video can be said to be a little weird. The criminals who were forced to by the policemen walked and fell to the ground in pain. They scared a bunch of police, but the ambulance came, everyone. I don't know if the criminal broke his lower body suddenly, or, the mosaic is in the video of M, but it can be seen that the criminal was carried into the car by the medical staff, and the medical staff discovered that he had dropped an organ. Castrated away. After that, when the police sent him to the hospital for treatment, they extracted his fingerprints, DNA, blood type, and other information by the way, and passed them into a criminal archive database to get a shocking discovery that the criminal may be a serial murderer who has been on the run. 3 women have been brutally killed. Immediately many netizens exploded and there were godly comments. Heaven comes justice, this was struck by thunder and lightning. But only after watching the surveillance video, he noticed Qin Zhuanan standing on the edge of the mosaic inside, guessing that it was not justice from heaven, but what she did. And why would Huo Kengzi recognize Qin Zhuanan from his back from behind? That is also Qin Zhuanan's slender figure, which is really easy to recognize. On the internet, Huo Kengzi was not the only one who noticed it, and there were also other sharp-eyed netizens who recognized it and asked the police who the woman with a fairy figure was, but the official didn't take care of it. And Qin Zhuanan, who had a celestial figure, also came back at this time, with her dysmenorrhea, and came back tragically. Qin Zhuanan didn't feel the pain in her stomach at all at first and she couldn't stand it, until she got on the subway tiredly, and gradually became like a serious illness and was exhausted, let alone a cold sweat. This kind of symptom like a serious illness made Qin Zhuanan very uncomfortable, so she rejected the behavior of a few well-wishers who wanted to help her call an ambulance. She forced her back home, and then scared Xiao Huo Qunyu, but did not scare him. To Huo Kengzi, he was just surprised at her extremely weak look. After all, she might have been stubbornly cut to young Jia at the police station. How could she really become a weak ant with dysmenorrhea when she came back? Yes, that's right, Huo Kengzi knew at a glance that Qin Zhuanan had dysmenorrhea. Why did he know that? Because he had never seen the ghostly appearance of the original owner Qin Zhuanan at home before, nor had he heard his mother worry about her severe dysmenorrhea reaction. Qin Zhualan's dysmenorrhea is so severe, it is also because she loves beauty extremely, in order to pursue beauty and thinness, menstrual irregularity caused by excessive dieting all the year round. Otherwise, the fairy figure touted by netizens can be casually owned by normal people. Did Director Liu of BIM talk to you about signing the contract yesterday? What did you say? Qin Chuanan walked into the living room with his body supported, and saw that Huo Kengzi was not in a hurry to lie down and rest, but asked about it. Then she saw that Huo Kengzi's expressionless face became a little stinky because of what she thought of, and she obviously didn't want to hear her asking about it. Huo Kengzi still coldly called her to take care of herself. Go and rest. Smelly boy, do you say it again? Qin Chuanan immediately became angry with Huo Kengzi and yelled at her. She lifted her hands, but her stomach hurts and the strange turbulent feeling made her too. Regardless of hitting Huo Kengzi, he ran to the bathroom in a panic. It was the first time that Huo Kengzi saw such a panic on Qin Chuanan's face, so he calmed down the emotions that had just come up suddenly, but still didn't plan to tell Qin Chuanan that Kim's director Liu talked to him about signing a blogger with him yesterday. At the time, they mentioned that the artist agency under their parent company was recently preparing to launch a men's group. There is still one person missing. They suddenly think you are suitable and want to sign you, and then send your 5-member group to debut on a men's group PK variety show next month. Huo Kengzi was very annoyed when he thought of Director Liu's proposal for him to consider carefully these 2 days. But such irritability was quickly interrupted by Qin Chuanan's operation in the bathroom. When Qin Chuanan was in the bathroom, he suddenly received a panicked call from the class leader, saying that a classmate had leaked the relationship between the original host high school. Qin Chuanan didn't pay attention to this, because this was the truth and there was nothing to hide. And this is not concealed. Some people on the internet have said that the reason for the breakup of this alluring love is that the woman dislikes the man as a poor boy. There are also alumni who are fighting the injustices for the man's husband. They directly open the wheat to ask Qin Chuanan, who is now bankrupt because of his sister and brother-in-law's family, do not regret giving up such a potential high-quality stock. Qin Chuanan didn't care about this. Instead, he saw a discussion about another matter on the internet and updated a Weibo. Qin Chuanan, the fathers of my 2 nephews are not the old lie whom the outside world said. His HCQ investment company went bankrupt because he encountered financial snipers. He is a good father and a good husband, please don't slander him anymore. And my elder sister is also a good mother, good wife, and good elder sister. After our parents passed away, the wealth that I got after being vilified and sold my body was all given by her. Whether it's Qin Chuo's hot search in the south or Huo Kengzi's forced business to go to hot search, Huo Kengzi's parents will be mentioned in various ways. There are also many slanders directed at the couple. This was the thing that Huo Kengzi could not accept the most before. But Qin Chuanan used Weibo to make a serious clarification. So Huo Kengzi was stunned when he saw it, but Qin Chuanan moved back to the bedroom with his belly dying after finishing it. She really realized the horror of women's dysmenorrhea. She could ignore the colic in her abdomen, but she couldn't ignore the uncontrollable fatigue. She lay in the bed, tossing carefully but couldn't sleep. But even so, Qin Chuanan was lying on the soft bed and couldn't help being happy that she had come to Gishui. And Huo Kengzi was also here, making Huo Qunyu, who was sitting at the door of Qin Chuanan's bedroom with a worried expression, knock on her door. Call her to get out and drink this. Huo Kengzi cooked the jujube, brown sugar, and water in the kitchen, but did not call it by himself, but made the little Huo Qunyu, who was sitting at the door of Qin Chuanan's bedroom with a worried expression, to call. Huo Qunyu didn't listen to him, and tremblingly helped the door to stand up, opened Qin Chuanan's bedroom door, but did not make a sound. Instead, he sat back on the ground, and then crawled away quickly on all fours and on the ground. Seeing this, Huo Kengzi hesitated for a while, carrying the jujube, brown sugar, and water to Qin Chuanan. Then Qin Chuanan was shocked. You know how to cook this? Qin Chuanan knows some medical principles, so although he has never drunk the brown sugar water boiled with jujube and ginger, he knows that it must have the effect of dispelling wind and cold, nourishing qi and nourishing blood, which is very suitable for her current state of dysmenorrhea. But she didn't expect that Huo Kengzi, who was cold and like a big block of ice, would actually understand this, and even cooked it and sent it to her. But soon she thought of the reason. This is what your parents taught you to love your daughter-in-law in the future. Qin Chuanan searched the memory of the original owner and found that the original owner knew that Huo Kengzi was a genius with high IQ when he was in elementary school, and he was also diagnosed with apathy. At that time, the original owner, who was 4 years older than Huo Kengzi, arrogantly and viciously scolded Huo Kengzi behind his back as a monster, a cold-blooded monster who was indifferent to his relatives. However, Huo Kengzi's parents were very distressed about his son's situation. They treated him twice as good and guided him to overcome this emotional obstacle. Because this disease is sometimes more terrifying than autism and depression. The big reason for the birth of Huo Kunya was that Huo's father and mother Huo left an emotional guarantee for his eldest son Huo Kengzi to leave in the future. They are too worried that Huo Kengzi has been living in an indifferent and lonely emotional world, with no one to accompany him, and no one to take care of his lonely family in his later years. But I didn't expect things backfired, but Huo Kunya was born with such a rare immune disease. But at that time, Huo's father and Huo's mother were also very optimistic. They felt that they were not short of money and that their 2 sons could get the best care and treatment, but they did not expect it to be like this. I guess they won't look down on it. Huo Kengzi, your brother is the last gift your parents left for you. You have to be nice to him and don't attack him. I just seem to hear you attack him. Qin Chuanan drank candy while educating Huo Kengzi. Huo Kengzi pressed his lips and was too lazy to care about her. But she was surprised that she actually guessed that his parents taught him to cook red dates, and brown sugar water. The reason is indeed to let him know how to care for his wife in the future, so that he can have a happy family. They also taught him a lot and taught him to be nice to his younger brother, saying that in the future, his younger brother will guard him instead of them. But at that time, he looked at the sick little boy and didn't think he would be of any use in the future, but after his parents died, he knew that little boy was working hard to live and stay with him. His apathy can hardly be moved by anything, nor can he be sad about things. So after his parents died, he didn't feel sad and weeping. But he was angry at this kind of self, because although he would not love, his IQ and understanding let him know that he was deeply loved by his parents. He also understands rational thinking to reward them, so he has been learning what they want him to learn according to their expectations, such as dancing, painting, singing, but why would they leave before he has fully repaid up? In this regard, he was very angry and irritable, and it was difficult to overcome a certain hostility in his heart. And when this hostility faced the selfish only 2 relatives little Aunt Qin Chuanan, it was infinitely amplified by the excitement. Huo Kengzi, I know what you have been dissatisfied with, but you have to know that between relatives and relatives, in many cases, it is my love to help you, and it is my duty not to help you. Qin Chuanan ate a red date, drank a few more mouthfuls of sweet soup, touched the warming belly, and decided to teach Huo Kengzi a lesson for Huo Kengzi's parents. Your parents are very good to me, and I also keep your brothers by my side, but you can count on me to help you unconditionally like your parents do for anything you want, then you are too weird. Your parents taught you very well, but there is one thing I think they did not do the right thing, that is, they didn't teach you everything to rely on yourself, a man should be self-reliant. Qin Chuanan was half leaning on the bed, still pale and weak, but every word he said hit Huo Kengzi's heart. When Huo Kengzi's mood fluctuated greatly, Qin Chuanan finished his last sip of sugar water and sat upright on the bed and asked him. Let's talk about it, what are you asking of me? I can't consider agreeing if I'm not too much. Huo Kengzi, whose mood was ups and downs because of Qin Chuanan's words the previous second. After a second, Qin Chuanan realized that it was Huo Kengzi who felt that he had nothing to do with his courtesy, and he was thievery, forget it. Huo Kengzi grabbed the bowl that Qin Juanan was still holding, turned around and left without looking back. Duliu Qin Juanan felt that he, I owe a beating. Entertainment latest news, a popular actor's high school has a first love, that first love is the most popular goddess on a video website recently, and now the actor still remembers this first love, so he has had no scandals since his debut. Fans think that his brother is not in love with his career, but in reality there is still a white moonlight in his heart. Entertainment 8 Uncle V, today I have an information about a certain meat actor who won a movie award some time ago. The actor used to have a bad family background and was a poor boy. High school white rich and beautiful friends chased him for a while, and broke up within a month of catching him. For this reason, the actor was decadent for a long time and felt that he was a poor boy before he was broken up. In the end, it was also because this man was persuaded to make his debut as a male singer. It became a hit and attracted countless golds in just 2 years. This year, he is still the top 3 of the Chinese celebrity income list published by Forbes. It is also very good to get rid of the name of a poor boy. Inspirational. Female nerve in the entertainment industry. Today I found out that one of my favorite male stars is the one I bought the album some time ago. Before his debut, he was abandoned by his first love girlfriend because of his poor love and wealth. I heard that first love it's very poisonous. It hurts the male celebrities' self-esteem, to say nothing to the male celebrities when they broke up. The male celebrities still can't get out of that injury. When Shen Shiyun was recording a variety show, he received concerned greetings from many friends in the entertainment circle, and then learned that the relationship between him and Qin Juanan in high school was exposed by the entertainment media. Shiyun, this revelation is false, right? It should be the BIM goddess Qin Juanan who wants to make you hype, right? Brother Shiyun, hurry up and PR, now the whole internet is saying that you used to be a poor boy. Yunzi, you were too pitiful before, you actually met a woman like Qin Juanan who dislikes the poor and loves the rich. All kinds of information with different concerns were sent to Shen Shiyun in the bombardment, and he couldn't help frowning at this. The female makeup artist who was fixing Shen Shiyun's hair, frowned at Shen Shiyun, who was so handsome that she seemed to shine, and couldn't help but scream for him. Shen Shiyun, don't feel sorry for the bad woman who loves you first. She is not worthy of you. She has no eyesight. You have now used your singing and acting skills to conquer the fans and achieved the current achievements. The bad woman who loves the poor and loves the rich, I must regret it now. The female makeup artist was excited and looked at Shen Shiyun with sympathy and pity. Shen Shiyun immediately stood up with anger. But he was too lazy to explain to someone he didn't know, so he got up and left the dressing room to record the show. I didn't expect to receive a call from my good brother Tang Xiaobin. Tang Xiaobin is one of the few personal friends of Shen Shiyun who has entered the entertainment circle. Although the other party is a super rich second generation with a mine at home, he does not have the stinky problems that ordinary rich second generations are difficult to get along with. He is also very loyal, so the two got acquainted with the drama he just won, and they have been getting better until now. So Tang Xiaobin knew all kinds of revelations on the internet, and immediately called with concern to ask Shen Shiyun what was going on. As for the brothers who had a stronger relationship, Shen Shiyun did not hide it and admitted it generously. That Qin Juanan is indeed a girlfriend I talked to in high school. It's just not as exaggerated as the outside world said. She is a girl I love very much. She would be with her at the time, but it was just a young and frivolous vanity or a moment of youthfulness. Confused. The two of us were recognized by the school as school grass and school flowers. Many classmates liked to tease us, saying that we were born together and love to force us together. Over time, the two of us are also curious about each other. We were together for a period of time. It was not as long as 1 month as stated on the internet. It was only 1 week. A week later, Qin Juanan discovered that my family was just an ordinary working family, so she broke up with me. Then you were not injured in this relationship. Tang Xiaobin heard something in the calm tone of his brother Shen Chiyun, and couldn't help but disappointed. The woman who loves the rich and the poor takes revenge. Just asked the assistant to make things difficult for her counselor. What did you do? Shen Chiyun was a little speechless and Tang Xiaobin was short-handed and impatient, and hurriedly asked him what he had done, but Tang Xiaobin didn't say anything. He still asked him about his being with Qin Zhuolan. Did that woman dislike it poisonously when she broke up? I saw the news on the internet saying that she disliked you as a poor boy and scolded you, and then she broke up with you poisonously. Tang Xiaobin looked at Yun Danfan and said lightly. The friend of this matter thought that the other party had to explain that there was no such poisonous thing. Shen Chiyun said, it's more poisonous than this. On the other side, Huo Kengzi also suddenly felt that Qin Zhuonan's fake little aunt was more poisonous than his real little aunt. You have nothing to do today, just practice the new dance, consolidate your popularity, and see if you can get video ads or sponsorships. Qin Zhuonan didn't know that director Bim Lu and Huo Kengzi had already talked about an oncom blogger boy group artist appointment, so he was still actively arranging various filming work for Huo Kengzi in order to maintain his BIM video update. After Huo Kengzi drank the brown sugar water coldly, Qin Zhuonan was unable to lie down again. Then I saw Qin Zhuonan turn on the big screen TV at home and ordered a dance video of a cute girl dancing and asked him to learn to dance quickly. Let's learn to cat meow together, meow 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 together. A cute girl with cat ears and hair accessories, she kept learning how cats act like a baby in front of the camera. Qin Zhuonan watched very happily. Huo Kengzi wanted to kill someone. Qin Zhuonan also pointed out that he would learn later. The essence of dancing this dance is, when you jump here, you must also learn to cat meow. Qin Zhuonan paused, pointing to the cute girl with her hands on her face and meowing on the big screen, and asked Huo Kengzi to learn to jump in place. Huo Kengzi was poisoned by Qin Zhuonan at the time and was about to leave. Qin Zhuonan received a call from the counselor asking her to come to Huang Zixi's historical drama crew. I don't know why the assistant of the hero of this play is crazy, staring at the interns in the Department of Film and Television Art and Design of the Metropolitan Communication University and saying why so many people are missing? Isn't this going to ruin the reputation of our school's students? The counselor is a little anxious over there, because recently some interns did leave early. But that wasn't a missed class, but he saw that the internship task of the crew was not heavy, and approved the 3 students to end the internship ahead of schedule, and also reported to the crew. And those 3 students are either in an emergency at home, or they are sick and can't do internship. Today, unfortunately, Huang Zixi missed work because of online incidents, and he still couldn't contact her. This is not equal to the number of internships that the crew checks in every day. That's why the counselor called Qin Zhuonan to top it up, otherwise the brain-picked male protagonist will spread the story on the crew, and their media university will not be misunderstood by their peers that they are all unprofessional students. At this time, the counselor thought that Qin Zhuonan was still in the crew of emergency rescue and did not know that she had gone home. Thinking that the 2 crews were not far away, Qin Zhuonan came to rescue him very quickly. He didn't expect that Qin Zhuonan was now at home because of dysmenorrhea. However, Qin Zhuonan did not refuse. Hearing the counselor calling her for help, he immediately responded, only that she might be late at home. Why are you at home? Then you can take a taxi, and the school will be reimbursed. The counselor did not ask Qin Zhuonan too much, and urged her to take a taxi and hung up the phone. Qin Zhuonan also went back to the room to change his clothes, and then rushed to the film and television city with the dressing case. But when she went out, she didn't forget to call Xiao Huo Qunyu to help her stare at Huo Kengzi to practice dance. Don't let him be lazy, I want to see the recorded video when I come back at night. Okay, Auntie. Little Huo Qunyu nodded obediently, and Qin Zhuonan couldn't help squeezing his face before hurried out. Qin Zhuonan was still suffering from dysmenorrhea all the way, but she might have drunk brown sugar water. Her blood was not as weak as the morning, making her weak and sweating, so she completely ignored the pain. But her face was still not good, and she was noticed by the counselor who called her history crew, and she felt guilty. It turned out to be sick. I wonder why you didn't intern with Yang Linlin's crew today. The counselor said to help Qin Xuanan carry the makeup case, and then called her good boy. Good boy, the teacher remembers your emergency rescue today. The counselor appreciated Qin Xuanan's emergency rescue for the school's reputation. Qin Xuanan was even more grateful to the counselor, because it was the counselor who helped her join the Yang Linlin crew. At that time, although the counselor scolded the original owner to escape the internship of the historical crew on the phone, Qin Xuanan sincerely stated that she could not find an internship on the crew, and the counselor still used her contacts to help Qin Xuanan find Yang Linlin. However, the crew of the large-scale historical drama The World of Han Dynasty that the school recommends students to do internships does not want to join in, and leave as long as they want, all of which require personnel approval. But it's okay for you to come over and get familiar with it. The social practice and artistic practice led by me and the super art teacher in your class next semester will set this crew. The counselor revealed to Qin Xuanan their course schedule for the next semester in advance. Qin Xuanan listened quietly and obediently. It seemed that her pale and bloodless face was getting sicker. You will beat other classmates in a while, don't be too tired. The counselor thoughtfully instructed Qin Xuanan, but the actor Tang Xiaobin of the crew saw Qin Xuanan but immediately showed his brother's unequal eyes, ready to tease her. Hey, that intern over there will come over and fix my hair. Tang Xiaobin directly ordered Qin Xuanan to fix her hair in public. Many people at the scene felt it was abrupt. Because according to his role, it is impossible for the interns to be responsible for his styling and makeup. They are all the leaders of the service group of the production crew. The service team leader of this play is also Feng Li, a professional teacher from Qin Xuanan School. Teacher Feng Li is taking a graduate student assistant to help the heroine make up, and is ready to do it for the hero Tang Xiaobin. Unexpectedly, he would call an intern at their college to get his hair. However, Feng Li didn't expect that he was deliberately asking Qin Xuanan for trouble. He thought he was looking for Qin Xuanan to talk to him because of Qin Xuanan's beauty. So I subconsciously helped Qin Xuanan to relieve the siege. She's only a sophomore, and she hasn't learned the care and styling of ancient hairstyles. I will bring them to this crew to learn this knowledge in the next semester. Teacher Feng Li said to relieve Qin Xuanan, but they insisted that Qin Xuanan go there, which made teacher Feng Li feel unhappy when he realized that he was making things difficult for her students. My student is not yet. Qin Xuanan moved when Feng Li stopped her movements and was seriously preparing to scold Tang Xiaobin not to be okay to bully her students. She put down the makeup case in her hand, walked over to Tang Xiaobin's request, and dismissed only some small messy hair for him, and then quickly tied it up with a hairpin. Hiss! Qin Xuanan moved quickly, and many people around did not notice. The only Tang Xiaobin noticed was that he was pulled to the scalp by Qin Xuanan's very simple and rude haircut, and he took a breath of pain. Take it lightly. Tang Xiaobin yelled at Qin Xuanan, then raised his hand to touch the hair wrap sticking to his head. Qin Xuanan ignored him. After finishing his hair, he stood aside and helped his classmates touch up other actors' makeup. During the whole process, Qin Xuanan focused on doing things. Tang Xiaobin called her a few times during the period. Qin Xuanan would help if he could help. It would not be their professional work, and she didn't care at all. Tang Xiaobin looked inexplicably unhappy at the appearance of the oil and salt. Teacher Feng Li, the instructor teacher, and the art director of the crew, Professor Wu, also saw him upset, almost at the same time calling him not to toss the students in their school. I don't care what position you are in this crew. Please respect my students. My students are not the assistants you hire to serve tea and water. You can drink. Are you mentally ill? Didn't you see that my student was unwell today, so you bullied a female classmate so shamelessly? Tang Xiaobin, Do you need me to ask Hu Huitao from the Imperial Capital Film and Television Academy? Is this how he teaches your students in the Film and Television Academy to play big names? The two teachers are backed by a famous school like Communication University, and they are not afraid that Tang Xiaobin may be a rich second-generation actor who brought money into the group. Tang Xiaobin didn't expect to provoke them, nor did he expect to provoke the respected Professor Wu in the circle, making him so angry that he wanted to greet the principal of their school. He was upset for a while, venting his anger for his brother, not targeting the school, but simply targeting Qin Xuanan. So at this time, he also softened, and apologized to the two teachers and Professor Wu, saying that he was just playing around, and the two teachers did not continue to train him. Professor Wu continued to deny him a good face, and asked Qin Xuanan with concern what was wrong with his body. Professor Wu was only willing to accept Qin Xuanan as a closed disciple yesterday, and took her to a variety show, the heroes of film and television production, that showed the importance of film and television dramas. He did not expect to meet her again today. And when he met him, he was a little hesitant to accept Qin Xuanan as a closed disciple, for fear of repeating the same mistakes. On the other side, Tang Xiaobin was very depressed and started filming, and then discovered that Qin Xuanan was really sick today, as her counselor said, and his face was pale, and he felt that he could act as the ghost in a Chinese ghost story without makeup. Forget it, don't care about such a weak woman. Tang Xiaobin told himself so, but the change was in vain. A snake suddenly strung to his professional position where he was resting. God, there are snakes! Ah! Snake! What? Everyone around was screaming at the sight of snakes, especially girls who were afraid of snakes. Qin Xuanan didn't respond at first, but there were more girls listening to screaming, and she also felt that she should scream to show her attributes as a girl. But when she chose to call for a response, the snake chased Tang Xiaobin towards her side, and she recognized it as a poisonous snake with a blood-stained throat. What Tang Xiaobin was scared to run around by the snake that jumped to his feet, Liashan Wazujian didn't notice that he was running in the direction of Qin Xuanan. When he found out, he saw Qin Xuanan with a sick face and was screaming in terror. But unlike when they saw the snake screaming and running around, Qin Xuanan stood motionless. Only when the snake jumped in front of her, she screamed and raised her leg. Plap! The snake had stepped on the ground with a sound.